Have you ever felt overwhelmed by emotions you couldn't control? Do you worry about the future more than you enjoy the present? What would your life look like if you could remain calm under any circumstance? Is fear of the unknown holding you back from your true potential? How often do you find yourself regretting things you can't change? Could mastering your reactions make you happier? I know these questions probably triggered your emotions, but don't worry. You're exactly where you need to be. By clicking on this video, you've taken the first step towards not just managing, but mastering your responses to the world around you. This isn't just another self-help guide. It's a transformative journey that will equip you with the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, tailored for the modern world of 2024. As we delve into these teachings together, you'll discover practical tools and insights that will empower you to handle anything life throws your way. Get ready, because your life will not be the same after this. You're about to learn how to turn every challenge into a stepping stone towards personal growth and inner peace. Welcome to your new path to freedom. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to have a small but powerful say in everything going on around you? I'm about to show you 15 easy psychological tricks that will teach you how to easily and discreetly control any situation and influence people. Based on tested psychology ideas, these tricks are very useful. They cover everything from how to use body language to how important it is to say the right thing at the right time. The best thing about these methods is that anyone can learn them and use them right away in their daily lives. You'll not only understand how the psychology of influence works better, but you'll also learn how to use it in a good way to make your relationships better at work, with friends, and at home. Think about how helpful it will be to know exactly what to say and do at key times. Now, think about how many times you've wanted to help someone see things your way or felt like you lost control in a fight. It's important to know what these psychological tricks are and how they work before we get into the ones that promise to give you more power over your daily life and relationships. These methods, which are based on well-known psychology principles, allow us to influence the choices and actions of those around us in small, often undetectable ways. We're not talking about manipulating or taking advantage of other people in a bad way when we say controlling situations or people. In fact, it's all about learning more about how people interact with each other and using that knowledge to make things better for everyone. This can help you a lot in many areas of your life, from getting a pay raise to keeping the peace at home. For instance, have you ever noticed how some people can just walk into a room and make everyone feel sorry for them? That is, how do some people always get the best deals? A lot of this is because they understand, either naturally or through learning, the psychological rules that guide how people connect with each other. The good news is that you can learn these skills and get better at them. The first technique is mirroring. One of the first psychological tricks is to copy someone else. While you're talking to someone, let's say you start to subconsciously copy their movements, like the way they tilt their head or make facial expressions. This acts like a mirror. Although it may seem easy, this trick has the power to bring two people together quickly and deeply. You subconsciously let that person know that you are in tune with them when you mimic them. Most of the time, this makes them feel better, more understood, and more willing to talk. It's like there was an unseen wall between you two that just went away. This can help a lot of times, like when you're negotiating, meeting, or even having a tough talk. To pull it off, you need to be quiet. You don't want the other person to know that you are directly reflecting them, because that could make you seem manipulative or even nosy. So pay close attention and use reflecting in a natural and limited way. If you learn this trick, you'll find that your relationships with other people are easier and better. Making smart use of eye contact. Now that you know how mirroring can help you talk to people, Let's move on to the next trick, making eye contact in a smart way. Making and keeping eye contact is just as important as knowing when to copy someone's movements. Looking someone in the eye can show trust, sincerity, and attention, all of which are important for making any kind of friendship stronger. It's important to find the right mix. Too much or too little eye contact can make someone feel threatened, while too little eye contact can make someone look uninterested or unsafe. Always look the other person in the eyes in a way that makes them feel heard and important without making them feel awkward. For instance, when you're talking, you can look someone in the eyes for a few seconds, then look away for a moment before looking back. This lets the other person know that you are paying attention to the conversation while still giving them space. This makes the conversation more comfortable for both of you. When you combine this trick with reflection, you improve your conversation, which makes your exchanges even more fun and useful. Paying attention. Once you know how mirroring and eye contact can help your relationships, active listening is another important skill. In this step, you don't just listen, you really learn and react to what is being said. Active hearing shows that you care about what the other person has to say, which can help you connect with them more deeply. Not only does active listening mean hearing, but it also means nodding, asking relevant questions, and restating what was said to make sure you got it right. If someone tells you something important, for instance, you could say, "So, what you're saying is," and then summarize what you heard. This not only shows that you're listening, but it also helps clear up any confusion right then and there. When you combine active listening with the right amount of eye contact and mirroring, you have a strong trio for good communication. You will not only be able to communicate better, but people will also like and trust you more if you use these tips. In this way, every contact is a chance to improve ties and make relationships that last. This should help. Just let me know what you need. But it also makes us more determined to act in ways that are good for the world, which I believe you will really like. This method not only shows that you care about and respect each person's interests, but it also finds shared ground, which makes it much more likely that the other person will join in and support the idea. By appealing to people's personal interests, you can turn a normal talk into a chance for them to work together in a passionate and important way. After talking about how appealing to people's interests can make our ideas stronger and get them more involved, reciprocity is a reasonable next psychological trick that comes to mind. People expect gifts to be returned because this is a strong social norm. We can get people to work together more deeply and meaningfully if we understand and follow the concept of cooperation. For example, if you helped a coworker connect a project to something they care about, like the environment, it's only normal that they'll want to do something for you back in the future. You can use this to ask for help with your own project while stating in a subtle way that you've worked with them before. Do you remember how well we did when we worked together on Project X? I'm going to start something similar, and I think your knowledge could be very helpful. Once more, this trick not only supports the idea of giving and taking, but it also starts a circle of helping each other. By intentionally using exchange, you not only improve the relationships you already have, but you also set the stage for future partnerships that will be both productive and satisfying. Once you know how exchange can help you build a support network, showing your power is another important part of relationships. This psychological trick isn't about showing off your power, it's about showing that you're smart and skilled in a way that makes people trust and respect you. People tend to trust your thoughts and choices when they see you as an expert on the subject. To build this kind of power, you need to show that you know what you're talking about and believe in your own abilities. To do this, you should be able to communicate clearly and use real-world examples and facts to show that you are qualified. For instance, you could begin a proposal with, Based on my 10 years of experience in the field and the results we have achieved in previous projects, I recommend that putting yourself forward as an expert not only improves your place in talks, but it also makes your suggestions and instructions more useful. People are more likely to listen to and follow the advice of someone who shows they understand and believe what they are saying. Because of this, putting time and effort into building and showing your power can have a big effect on how people see you and how well you can lead and influence them. After talking about how important it is to establish your power in order to effectively influence others, the principle of shortage is another psychological trick that can help. It is normal for people to value goods or chances more when they think there aren't many of them. When something is scarce, people feel much more compelled to have it or take part in it. When you talk about ideas or chances, you can use the idea of shortage. For instance, if you are in charge of a project and want your team to join quickly, you can stress how limited the chance is. We need to move quickly because this special project can only have 5 people, and I'd really like you to be a part of it because of your valuable experience. This clever use of scarcity not only makes people feel rushed, but also makes them value the chance, making them feel honored to be considered. When combined with the power you have already built, this way can make your ideas much more successful and help people make decisions and take action faster. After learning about how shortage can make things feel valuable and urgent, the next step in building good communication is to understand how important commitment and consistency are. To use this trick on people, you have to remember that people want to be seen as constant in what they say and do. When someone says or writes that they will do or believe something, they are more likely to follow through with it, to look like they are being consistent. You can use this to your advantage, especially after making people feel like they need to act quickly by making things scarce. For instance, after telling people that they are one of the few who can join a project, you could ask those who are willing to make a promise. Say, if you're really interested in joining this exclusive project, could you send me a brief summary of your ideas for it by the end of the day? This will help us align our next steps quickly. By asking for this kind of original promise, you not only make sure the person is interested, but you also set them up to act consistently. In the future, this process makes them feel like they are actively and sincerely involved in the project. This makes it more likely that they will stay involved and inspired as the project goes on. Using difference is a great way to make your ideas much more powerful after you've established commitment and consistency in your interactions. People can better understand the worth of a choice when they directly compare it to a less appealing one using this psychology theory. This method can be used in any situation to show choices or answers. For instance, if you want your team to use a different management tool, you should first point out the issues with the current one, like how slow it is or how few resources it has. Then talk about the new tool, focusing on how it fixes these issues and adds new features that make the process run much better. By showing the less appealing choice first, and then the more appealing one, you make a strong contrast that makes the second option even more appealing. This not only makes it easier for others to decide, but it also makes them feel like they're making a smart choice, which makes them more likely to follow through with the suggested action. This comparison method can be very helpful for convincing and inspiring the people around you if you know how to use it correctly. Now that we've talked about how contrast can be used to show why one choice is better than another, let's look at another psychological trick that can be surprisingly effective. Silence. When used correctly, silence can be a great way to buy time, see how people are reacting, and even get someone to say more than they meant to. Think about the last time you made a request and emphasized why it was the best choice. You don't keep talking right away. Instead, you stop and are quiet. This pause in speech can make the other person feel tense, which makes them want to fill the space. In many cases, this will make them question, object to, or even agree to the idea, which will teach you how to give in. You shouldn't forget how powerful silence can be. It helps you stay cool and collected during negotiations, which shows that you are in charge and confident. Giving someone time to think and react can also be a sign of respect, which can make the connection and conversation stronger. Adding quiet to your persuading strategies not only works well with difference, but it also makes any encounter more interesting. We've talked about how silence can be used as a strategy to improve conversation. Another important part of any relationship is recognizing and accepting other people's feelings. Validating someone's feelings doesn't just mean letting them know you understand and accept them. This can make relationships much stronger. When you stop to use quiet well, you often give the other person a chance to say what they desire to say. At this point, it's important to not only listen, but also show that you understand and value these feelings. Saying something like, "I can see that this worries you, and I understand why. Let's see how we can address these concerns in a way that makes you feel more comfortable," is one way to react. When you validate someone's feelings, you not only show that you understand, but you also build trust and an open space. This makes it easier for people to talk to each other and can lead to better answers that everyone is happy with. You can better understand other people and make them feel understood and respected by using silence and validating their feelings. This is an important part of any good conversation. Remember to always think about the ethics and effects of your actions on situations and relationships as you explore and use these psychological tricks. If you use these tools properly, they can greatly enhance your social skills and performance in different life settings. It's important to move on to the talk and evaluation part after learning how acknowledging feelings can help build trust and understanding. This step is very important because it gives everyone a chance to think more deeply about their own thoughts and feelings and to process the information that was shared. By recognizing how someone feels, you automatically make the conversation more in-depth and important. As an example, you could help everyone think about what to do next by asking, "Now that we better understand how each of us feels about this issue, what do you think we could do to move forward in a way that meets our expectations and concerns?" You can show that you care about other people's ideas and feelings by taking this method. It also gets everyone involved in the search for answers. During discussion and thought, people can explore and improve their ideas and increase their loyalty to each other. By allowing this kind of conversation, you help build a strong base for future choices and the growth of relationships that last longer and work better together. Have you ever thought about what your life would be like if you could totally control your feelings in every moment, no matter how stressful your thoughts are or how much pressure they put on you? This section will talk about 9 bad habits that the Stoics avoided at all costs in order to keep their inner peace. Even though these ideas are thousands of years old, they are still surprisingly relevant in today's world, where constant digital demands and public exposure put our health and peace of mind at risk. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept the things that fate binds you, and love the people that fate brings you together, but do it with all your heart. I promise that you will not only think deeply about these things, but also change the way you see and react to the world around you." Expressions of negative feelings like anger, frustration, sadness, and fear that were not proper in public were the first bad habit that the Stoics avoided. Stoics believe that emotions that aren't controlled are illogical, go against human nature, and keep us from being in charge of our own lives. So, their goal was to achieve neutrality, which means peace of mind. This doesn't mean he has to shut down all of his thoughts and become a hermit. In fact, The Stoics knew that the first emotions that come up without thinking were normal. What mattered was how we decided to react after that. For instance, it is normal to feel very sad at first after losing a loved one. They wouldn't say that being naturally sad is a bad thing or something to be ashamed of. Still, they told us not to make the pain last longer than it had to, not to fall into a deep well of self-pity, and not to show our sadness to other people. They would think it was more moral to deal with their sadness alone, logically and calmly. For strong reasons that are still true today, the Stoics said we shouldn't show our feelings unchecked, especially when they were bad. First, because our emotions are usually short-lived, it's easy to get caught up in the wave of them and make something bigger than it really is. In other words, we make a small loss seem like a huge deal. Second, showing feelings like anger or rage without control makes other people uncomfortable and adds needless stress. It also makes us look less authoritative and less like a leader. Third, because it's clear that letting other people see our emotions can be used against us, showing our weak spots that can then be used as tools of attack. When we let our guard down around other people, we need to be careful. Fourth, and most importantly, the Stoics thought that letting out all of our emotions without first thinking about them logically was a bad idea because it made the emotions stronger and made us lose control. It's interesting that the more we yell at someone in rage and anger, the angrier we get. Getting angry doesn't get rid of it, it makes it stronger. Instead, the anger goes away when we stop, breathe, and think about what's going on quietly. So, the Stoics suggested a powerful exercise. When we feel a bad feeling, we should talk to it, which means to separate it from us and ask questions about it. Why are you really here? What good are you to me? Are you helping me solve the problem or making it worse? This distance lets us control our excessive passion instead of letting it control us. Instead of responding immediately with bad feelings, we can use our minds to figure out the best thing to do. Another important thing to do when you're feeling emotional is to picture them as temporary and always changing. Nothing lasts forever, not even extreme sadness or happiness. Everything changes. This helps us see how strong the feelings we're having right now are and keeps us from holding on. It does not mean hiding them or acting like they are not there. We can talk about our bad feelings in a healthy, private, and illogical way with people we trust. To ease our stress, we can ask close friends and family for wise help without having to send it out to everyone. It's also not good to keep them around without explaining them, because that leads to anger and hatred. But when they were in public, the Stoics tried to show as much calmness, knowledge, and self-control as they could. This was a way for them to lead others emotionally. This is clear from the things we post on social networks. A lot of victimization, whining, anger, and people who are constantly upset, who just vent. It's okay to let off steam, but don't feed your anger and illogical hate over and over again. Let's think about the energy and picture we want to give off. In short, the Stoic way of life doesn't say to shut down strong emotions. Instead, it says to first process them logically and constructively without letting them control us. Then, if necessary, express them with compassion, but don't send that negative, toxic load out into the world without a filter. Stoics believed that talking about life's problems all the time was another bad habit that should not be shown in public. The Stoics said that instead of complaining about every loss, people should accept them calmly as part of nature, fate, or God's will. We don't have to be silent victims. Instead, we can change the things we can and accept the rest without fighting it. Another important idea in Stoicism is amor fati, which roughly means love of fate or love of what life has in store for us. This attitude of acceptance is closely linked to amor fati, not only putting up with things, but also enjoying them as part of a mutually agreeable whole. It means seeing each experience as a gift and believing that there is nothing truly bad in the universe's grand holy order. It tells us that if we look at things in the right way, even the worst conditions can have something good to offer. On the surface, this point of view seems very sad, like liking cancer, poverty, the betrayal of a friend, or the death of a child. That kind of hopeful, harmful thought was not what any Stoic was suggesting. He's saying that even though these bad things wouldn't happen in a perfect world, cursing them does nothing but make us sadder. We miss the opportunities for change when we spend time complaining about how things are. We not only add to the problem, but also make it worse. People who only go on social networks to complain about everything from important social problems to silly little things show this very clearly. They spend their time complaining about how bad things are and how bad society is getting. So much sadness everywhere. But what's the point of making things so bad and whining so much after the original venting? Most of them don't even offer real answers to the problems they complain about. They just keep getting into fights, arguing and being angry, adding to the chaos without changing anything. The Stoics say that we should keep our ethics instead of cursing our losses, even when we are going through hard times that seem unfair. Instead of dwelling on what can't be changed, it's better to grow in what we already have. Instead, let's calmly and recklessly think about the answers that are out there. Marcus Aurelius, ruler and Stoic philosopher who ruled Rome during a time of decay and corruption, is a very bad example of this. He had to deal with plagues, wars, and betrayals. But in his works, he always seemed calm when bad things happened. He didn't downplay how bad the problems were, but he focused on how to handle them wisely. He encouraged self-control and firm action over pointless complaints. James Stockdale, a fighter pilot who was captured and abused for years in Vietnam, was another very strange case. He used the lessons he had learned about Stoicism in college to get through that hell. He didn't curse his attackers or his bad luck. Instead, he faced reality with courage and focused each day on doing what he could to resist with honor. He also avoided death, going crazy, or becoming unable to move because of hopelessness. That calm trait can help us in our everyday lives, though it's not as important. We should definitely let out our anger and feelings when we need to, but let's not get stuck in a never-ending loop of whining and complaining. Making the obsessive negative more dramatic and strong doesn't help much. Should this problem really get so much attention and pain? In this case, there is nothing that can be saved. How can it be solved? What does it depend on? These kinds of questions help you step back, gain perspective, and recover your power. Instead of making things worse on social networks, let's work for peace by sharing practical solutions, accurate information, and heartwarming acts of brotherhood. Let's help solve the problem instead of adding to it. The world is already very sad, so don't add to it by making things worse. Your words and deeds can help spread goodness, truth, and beauty. It's up to each of us to make our own small areas of influence more harmonious. Of course, it's not always easy to keep this calm and broad view of things. To be honest, we need to let off some steam now and then. Then it's important to calm down and stay focused, to stop adding to the never-ending waves of anger and instead encourage creativity. This balance is important for our emotional health and our relationships with other people. Finally, we can use the Stoic visualization method when things are really tough and our sadness, anger, or rage are getting the best of us. Imagine that we are high above the earth in sidereal space, where we can look at our situation from afar as a tiny dot in the vastness of the universe that doesn't care about us. When we use radical perspective, we can put our problems in perspective and remember that they are small compared to the vastness of time and space. Everything goes by, everything changes, and nothing is so great or so bad. Life goes on, and we are just one atom among billions that are exactly the same and have our own problems. Not only are we not alone, but we are also not the only ones in pain. It's a part of life that we have to bravely face. So instead of trying to avoid or ignore the pain that comes with life, we should face it with resolve and peace, not wallowing in what we can't change, but being thankful for what we can and taking action to make it better, with amor fati. Stoics believed that accepting reality as it is the best way to get the most out of it. The third bad habit that the Stoics said people shouldn't show off in public is arrogance and showing off their belongings and skills for no reason. The Stoics were strong supporters of modesty and humility. They thought that showing off your material or personal achievements with pride was wrong and showed that you were very insecure. This behavior is especially important now that we live in the age of social media, where many people make up fake identities based on outward appearances to get attention. They always post about their nice things and skills to impress their followers. Stoics believe that putting too much emphasis on things like money, awards, looks, fame, and belongings shows an incorrect order of values. Character, our inner strengths and skills, is what is truly important. The real accomplishment is to love, forgive, and improve oneself every day. Bragging about anything else is pointless and foolish. For a Stoic, this is shown by a story. One day, the sun and the wind tried to steal an old man's coat to see who was stronger. The wind was very proud, but the old man stood firm on his coat, no matter how hard it tried. Then it was the sun's turn. It just got brighter and wouldn't let him take off his coat. This story shows that when we brag too much, people either avoid us or feel envious, and we miss the chance to shine with our own light. The current trend of showing off money to impress is a clear example of a bad way of thinking. Posting pictures of expensive jewelry, houses, cars, and trips to faraway places around the world all the time is only meant to make people admire or be envious, not to earn real respect. The Stoics didn't support being very poor. Instead, they believed that simplicity and independence were key to peace of mind. To be happy and feel whole, we don't need as many things as we think we do. It is very important for Stoics to not care about the adiaphoric, or things outside of themselves that don't affect them. This includes things like money, fame, and even good health, which don't matter because they don't affect our happiness or inner goodness. We all want to be healthy and have the things we need to get by, but becoming hooked on collecting and showing off things without limits is a sign of a soul that is lost. Being proud should come from working every day to become better people, learning from life's setbacks, and letting go of material things. That is where real honor comes from. Being vain about things like physical beauty or intelligence is just as bad. These are just natural skills that we got by luck, not great accomplishments that show you have good character. In fact, it's better to admire someone who isn't as smooth or smart, but is kind. When a Stoic was tempted to brag too much, they said that one of the best ways to stop was to quickly lose all of their valuable things and fame and be left alone in an empty room. What's left? Who would you still be if you took away the outside? This mental exercise helps you remember what's important, growing your inner knowledge, love, and strength of will. By understanding how pride and the need for praise work on a psychological level, you can start to fix the problems that are causing them. You understand that you don't have to prove anything or beg for attention. Other people's praise doesn't make you feel good about yourself. So, instead of chasing fame and shallow praise that will never really please you, you should focus your desire to be great on more important goals like spiritual or community service, which will help you direct your selfish urges toward a higher goal. You give up your pride and become a servant to others. The fourth bad habit that the Stoics refused to show in public at all costs was criticizing and talking badly about other people. The Stoics knew that hurtful words can hurt relationships and reputations wrongly, so they stressed how important it was to be understanding and kind to others when they made mistakes. Being ignorant and happy doesn't mean this. There are bad things that should be pointed out, and the Stoics weren't afraid to stand up for right causes with firmness, but only within certain limits. It was very important to them that they knew the difference between questioning someone's thoughts or actions and attacking their morals directly. We don't have to make snap decisions about a person based on their deeds. It's okay to disagree with someone and ask them to change their mind if they make a mistake or say something that isn't true, but we shouldn't use that to basically and permanently put them down. Everybody makes mistakes and has good and bad sides. Unfortunately, what we see on social networks and in public conversations these days is the opposite. Very divisive and harmful arguments where people don't accept even the smallest mistake made by others, and there are no room for subtlety or second chances. And disliked opinion, a bad joke, or a hurtful word can be enough to get rid of someone for good, ruining their image and ability to make a living. From a Stoic point of view, this urge to get even and be vindictive is exactly what's wrong. We can be strong about calling someone out on a bad behavior and holding them accountable, but we must be careful not to turn into the thing we're criticizing, like a mob of angry people. The Stoics didn't trust the opinion of the majority as a moral standard. They knew that morality is separate from social approval, and that when the masses are let loose, they can be especially illogical and cruel. One common thing to see is people who happily help bring down someone who is being criticized by everyone, but then post things about not judging, being sensitive, and not spreading hate. Where is the sympathy for the people they just lynched? It was this fake morality based on looks that the Stoics were trying to reveal. If we try to be politically right and talk about ideals, our actions will show if our words are really in line with our values, or if it's all just a social act. Another important thing the Stoics stressed about judging someone is that it is almost never helpful or useful to do it when the person is not there or able to react. Talking about someone behind their back leads to unfair and inaccurate conclusions that don't help. So, evil talk was seen as an ethically bad thing to do. The Stoics believed that if you have to call someone out for bad behavior in public, you should do so in a kind way that aims to change them rather than punish them. You should condemn the mistake by appealing to his reason and, even more so, to his higher self, which is capable of fixing things and may even have to use painful solutions to do so. You should always do this with the goal of rebuilding, not punishing. They were sure that everyone, even the worst offenders, could change and be forgiven. No one is totally bad, only mistaken. There is always a seed of goodness. We should not stifle it with too much disrespect. It's important not to mix up being forgiving of other people's flaws with tolerating or allowing evil. Because we believe that every person has the power to improve, we should hold each other to higher moral standards, but we should do so with patience and not so much condemnation that can't be undone. The Stoics avoided showing the fifth bad habit in public at all costs, being fixated on fame, social status, and outside approval. The Stoics knew very well what could go wrong with a widely held belief that everyone should always try to please others and win their praise. They were relentlessly seeking the praise of everyone. Of course, we all like it when people praise our good work, but there is a big difference between being grateful for the odd compliment and putting other people's approval ahead of our own morals and freedom of thought. The Stoics tried to get rid of this need for external approval that never ends because it feeds a weak and unstable ego that depends on small amounts of attention that will never fully satisfy it. It's dangerous to base our decisions on what other people think instead of our own values. In this day and age of social media, This unhealthy need for attention has grown, making many people go out of their way to show pictures of perfect lives in order to get fans and likes. The most important Stoic question here is, what big hole are people who badly want status, fame, or praise from others trying to fill? It's an endless pit that makes them feel worse off and emptier. A lot of celebs and leaders who are very famous and seem to have everything actually deal with fears, mental gaps, and even suicide thoughts on the inside. All the praise in the world can't fix those problems. A low sense of self-worth that needs constant approval from others is basically always looking for new ways to compare itself to others. The Stoics had a lot of doubts about what most people thought. They knew that truth isn't decided by what most people agree on, and that virtue and happiness don't rely on getting medals and praise, but on staying true to your own values and keeping your mind free. It's not about being rebels without a cause who always disagree with what other people think. It's about being smart enough to listen to different points of view with humility and use what is useful while still being able to think critically and be independent. Finally, the Stoics tell us not to break our morals or believe false things just because everyone else is doing it or because we want to fit in. This is especially important in today's politics and social media worlds, where many people repeat slogans without really thinking about the points, just to fit in with certain ideological groups and not because they really believe them. Stoicism says that we are truly mature when we can stand by our views without a crowd cheering us on, and when we don't depend so much on what most people think of us. This way of life teaches us to respect ourselves and others, staying true to ourselves and our honor in a world that constantly tries to make us look more surface level. Anxiety and too much fear about the future were the sixth bad habit that the Stoics tried to avoid showing in public. They really believed in living in the present and loving the hour, focused on the things they could control, like what they did each day. This doesn't mean being careless and not planning or taking care of a solid future. It just means not falling into. Seeker says that when we have nervous and obsessed thoughts about dangers that might never happen, our worries are always stronger when we think about them. Also, Epictetus said not to worry about what might happen tomorrow, because we will get the same care today as we will tomorrow. It's funny that even though humans have done great things like landing on the moon and figuring out the human genome, we still can't relax because our imaginations are too busy and we worry about what might go wrong soon. In spite of how smart we think we are still controlled by a basic urge that makes us worry and learn from every possible danger instead of enjoying the moment. Even though science and technological progress has made our lives better, there is more worry, sadness, unhappiness, and mental sickness. In some situations, it makes sense to worry about the future, but constantly being anxious and upset, expecting the worst even when everything is okay, is not good or helpful. Studies have shown that most of the things we worry about don't come true, and when they do, all the pain we thought we would feel is a waste of our mental and emotional energy. We mess up the moment for things that don't exist. That's like paying interest on a loan that hasn't been paid yet and might never be paid. We make our own mental hell when we live in fear on the edge of the abyss and think about terrible things that might happen in the future. The more we hold on to those terrible thoughts in order to get ready, the more fear and pain we feel, and it's more from the thought of possible problems than from real ones. Watch how dogs live calmly, enjoying the moment without thinking about getting old or dying soon. Even when bad things happen, they quickly return to their natural state of simple joy, not focusing on the pain. They are smarter than us, who are great at making up imaginary stories. You don't have to become overly positive and think that everything will always work out well. The Stoics knew that we will have painful problems, losses, and mistakes in life, which we must accept with courage. but they also knew that it is much harder to be calm and not fight what is inevitable. We can't deal with real problems when we're busy making up others. If we keep thinking problems at work, in our health, or in our relationships and keep spinning them, we will ruin our happiness in the present, creating self-fulfilling predictions that come true only because we attract them. Instead of denying problems will happen or trusting without a plan, the best thing to do is build up the mental strength to deal with them when they do. Do not set off mental bombs before they are time or in the wrong place out of stress, trying to control the unpredictable. No matter how well we plan, life will always find a way to throw off our plans. There will always be factors we can't fully predict. We will have to adjust, adapt, and go with the flow of unplanned events sooner or later. Don't waste your time thinking about problems that might or might not happen. Focus all of your energy on doing your daily work as well as you can. Instead of worrying all the time that your partner will turn on you or leave you, work on making your relationship stronger right now. Let's pay attention to what we can really change, how we think, what we do, and how hard we work. Do not worry about things that are outside our power that will happen in the future. Plan in a sensible way to have a safety net and lower major risks, but don't get so paranoid that you want to control and predict every chance event that will happen to us at some point. Don't try to control every little thing, just let it flow. It's not easy to find this balance and take the right measures without always seeing the worst that could happen. But that's the path to maturity, being able to enjoy the ride while thinking about the future without ruining the moment. You can always surf the waves of uncertainty if you are brave and smart. In the end, the only thing we can control is our desire to get better every day, learn from our mistakes, and do our best with the resources we have access to, never with absolute guarantees of success, never without risks or surprises along the way, but with the assurance that we will be okay no matter what. It's important to have enough strength to keep going even when we're scared. As the old Asian classics say, it might be best not to expect or fear the future too much, and you shouldn't even try to imagine what your perfect life would be like in 5 or 10 years. Since the truth will always be what it is, whether you like it or not. The 6th bad habit that the Stoics didn't like to show in public was worry and too much fear about things that can't be changed in the future. Their lessons teach us to be fully aware and wise in the present moment and to focus on what we can control right now. This doesn't mean we should stop being responsible, planning, or taking care of ourselves in order to have a good future. Instead, it means we should stop worrying too much about things that haven't happened yet and probably never will. Even if they do happen, thinking about a made-up tragedy over and over again won't help. It's normal to feel anxious and worried about many things, like your own and your loved one's health, your funds, your job, your kids' schoolwork, etc. It's part of our natural urge to plan and avoid risks. The problem comes up when this tendency gets out of hand and we become paralyzed by fear or negative anticipation, thinking more about a possible bad future than facing the present to act in the right way. That's when worry turns bad and stops helping. When the defense mechanism that is supposed to keep us safe starts to hurt our quality of life and our ability to enjoy the present, it is easy to get stuck in a never-ending cycle of making up bad things that never happen but keep us up at night. Then we feel bad about having wasted years of our lives on pointless worries that went away the next day or never happened at all. 2 simple but strong questions from the Stoics could help you defuse this internal time bomb. Is the problem that bothers me already happening, and do I need to deal with it right now? If not, what's the point of making myself feel bad about something that might not happen? Even if we have the best intentions, painful and uncertain events may still happen. It's life itself, with all of its ups and downs, but we would handle it much better if we had built up the mental strength and knowledge to deal with it before it happened, instead of waiting years of pain. In fact, it's often the case that people who live eagerly to avoid problems or who keep putting off important actions because they're afraid of failing are much worse at dealing with big problems when they come up. This is because they aren't prepared with strong mental and emotional muscles. That's how chronic worry works. We bring about what we fear most by focusing on it over and over again, instead of giving ourselves the tools to handle it calmly if it does happen. It would have been better to use that time and energy on something else instead of chimeras against. Another important way the Stoics said to deal with worry was to accept that some things are beyond our control and were meant to happen from the start. This is what they called amor fati, which means to love our fate as it is. That sounds strong when we think of terrible things that happen, like a loved one dying or getting sick, but the thought is not cruel or defeatist at all. It's just being brave enough to admit that life has starts and ends, and that fighting this fact makes us hurt more. We take reasonable steps to avoid things that can be avoided and live a good life, but when something truly unavoidable does happen and overtake us, we can choose to handle it with calmness instead of letting it consume us. Losing a job or a partner or getting a discouraging medical diagnosis hurts, and it's okay to grieve, but then we are called to flow with dignity in the face of the uncontrollable, rebuilding on the ashes with new hope and compassion. The seventh bad habit that the Stoics swore they would never show in public was the need to fight strongly and be right at all costs. While supporting their own point of view to the death without any wiggle room, the Stoics knew very well how useless heated arguments can become. Obviously, it's not about giving up on basic morals because other people want you to, or taking politically right stands without really believing them. The Stoics fought hard for good causes, but they also warned people about the dangers of being intellectually egoistic and holding on to ideas as if they were the only ones that could be right about every complicated problem. This cockiness only makes things worse and keeps people from coming to an understanding. Not strongly disagreeing with an idea is the problem. The problem is when we rigidly and intolerantly connect our ego and self-image with a certain stance, thinking that any point of view other than our own is an attack on our personhood that we must defend at all costs. Going over this one more time, it makes sense to be completely firm when we have deeply held moral beliefs and causes that we can't give up. But most heated arguments are over small, unimportant things, like opinions in sports or art or different ways to solve a complicated practical problem that doesn't have a clear-cut answer. That's when we lose the sense and intellectual respect to look at things from other points of view that might help our own. When we say things like, "You're right on that point, I hadn't thought of it that way," we get stuck in unhealthy win-lose situations where we try to beat the other person at all costs instead of looking for the whole truth. We defend our egos, not our real values. Of course, the Stoics didn't say that important moral principles should be thrown out just to avoid conflict. They believed that deep truths and unalienable rights are worth fighting for, even if most people are against you. It's one thing to believe in core principles that can't be broken, but it's a whole other thing to think that we are completely fallible and can passionately preach about any complicated topic with multiple possible readings. Therefore, the Stoics were very wary of angry groups that think they know the absolute truth and are ready to destroy and cancel out anyone who dared to question their most basic beliefs. Of course, you can't have a conversation with an extreme zealot, but the Stoics believed that people should be tolerant and willing to look at things from different points of view while being humble. This meant that everyone could agree on something smarter and more well-informed, without having to force a single, limited view of clearly very complicated facts on everyone else. Because, As restricted experience and ego-driven humans, there will always be areas where our reasons don't cut it, no matter how strong they seem to us. This is why the Stoics were also wary of groups of people who were sure they knew everything and were ready to kill anyone who tried to bring new ideas or complexity to issues that were already well known. This is especially true when it comes to new ideas in art, technology, or society. When you come up with new, groundbreaking ideas, you run into people who don't understand them and are afraid of what is different. Anyone with a sharp mind who isn't afraid to question the most common ideas knows how hard it is when people feel attacked in their most basic ideas of what is normal and shut down completely instead of thinking of other options. When someone challenges the status quo, they need to be strong when social pressure comes up, but they also need to be humble enough to take into account true criticism, along with the angry criticism they will surely receive. Letting themselves be pushed can make even the most bold and bright ideas better. The best way to measure how wise someone is to look at every part of an idea through their own and other people's eyes in order to improve it and get past its original flaws. Therefore, the Stoics said we should avoid two extremes that are both very bad: being too flexible to please everyone, which can lead us to take morally wrong positions just because everyone else does, while they are irrationally drunk, and being too stubborn, which means we don't want to learn and think our own opinion is already perfect and doesn't need any feedback or nuance. No deal. The middle ground is as solid as a rock on important principles, but as flexible as bamboo when it comes to adding new information. Loving determination, not selfish belief based on reason, along with the intellectual humility that comes from knowing we can't know everything. Of course, this is a hard ideal to live up to because our egos want to cling to one of the two extremes to feel absolutely sure. We don't want to deal with uncertainties. We want to put everything into a black and white box. But any really important problem usually has a lot of murky areas when it comes to ethics. This is why the Stoics thought it was good for your mind and emotions to think about moral and philosophical problems from different points of view. This isn't meant to make people ethically ambivalent, but to help them see how complicated many scenarios and choices are. At the end of the day, we want to live a good life based on logic and knowledge, but also on kindness and modesty, knowing our limits and learning to deal with doubt. Instead of being paralyzed, unable to take a stand on anything, and always doubting, we should work on improving our multidimensional critical thinking by connecting ideas that seem to be at odds with each other, understanding without necessarily justifying all the motivations and human contexts behind every wrongdoing, and harshly condemning mistakes when necessary without dehumanizing the person who did them or thinking we are perfect. This is an ideal that often requires a lot of work, especially when dealing with It takes a lot of emotional maturity to separate people from their actions, to talk about sensitive issues without reacting, and to avoid oversimplifying things. But this is the only way to set reasonable ethical standards in a society that is truly diverse and plural, without trying to get everyone to agree on every little thing. Instead, we should focus on basic principles of respect that allow people to live together peacefully, even when they disagree. In conclusion, the Stoics want us to talk about things without being too attached to our egos or thinking we know the absolute truth. To share our points of view honestly in order to understand and grow together, rather than as gladiators fighting to the death to defend our own territory. This is because, in the end, our inability to see other options may change us just as much as the mistake others make that we condemn, and we miss a chance to learn when we automatically reject what others say. The ninth bad habit the Stoics didn't like to show off in public was showing off needless goods and wasting resources to please other people. The Stoics strongly believed that being simple, thrifty, and moderate in what you buy were important ideals. This wasn't because they thought poverty was cool, but for more serious reasons. They thought it was silly and illogical to hold on to things that will eventually break, as if they were the most important thing in life and the source of happiness and satisfaction in the end. Because by definition, every outward luxury is temporary and can't be trusted to keep something so important going. The Stoics actually said that because we relied so much on these little pleasures to make us happy, we became constantly anxious, worried in a bad way about losing them or not being able to buy more. It was a mental trap called the hedonistic treadmill that made us even more unhappy and restless. The more we have, the more we need to feel the same, endless, always thinking that happiness is in the next level of showy goods that we haven't reached yet. It's clear that the Stoics didn't think it was wrong to live a happy life where your basic wants are met thanks to your own work or a family gift. Instead, they were attacking how pointless it is to base our happiness and self-esteem on things that are so fragile and temporary, thinking that these things are so important that we should constantly show them off to get other people's attention. Those comforts don't last long. They're just temporary cars, not important goals that make planning your whole life around getting them or showing them off, let alone praising ourselves as if they were a big accomplishment justified. Of course, there have always been rich, spoiled brats who played silly social status games by trying to get useless status symbols like luxurious cars, big houses, and expensive jewelry. But in today's world, social media has made this trend even worse. For many ordinary people, showing off their money in photos is almost like a national sport because they want attention and likes. Creating idolatrous false altars for one's own ego is easy when there is an event going on. The birthday cake covered in edible gold, the bush-sized bouquet of roses for Valentine's Day, or the swimming pool with a view during summer vacation. All of these are carefully planned with bombastic hashtags to show the supposed higher level of fantastic abundance, luxury, and exclusivity we enjoy and don't want anyone to miss, even if we bought them on credit and eat bread with bologna the rest of the. That's not to say that worldly joys are bad. They can be good in some situations. What I want to do is severely question this need to appear and want to project perfect lives through the networks, when we all know that reality is much more normal and messy. In the end, those temporary pleasures for pretty pictures don't add anything meaningful to us on the inside. They're just false markers that keep us from realizing how great we are and keep us dependent on acceptance from others, which is never enough. We forget that the only values that last are honesty and good behavior with others, which all fade away when we need to show off meaningless status symbols to feel good. It's a nasty ego loop that makes people more vain and increases their need for constant approval from others by filling empty spaces inside them with showy awards. But it's clearer that something is wrong deep down the more we brag to the world about how happy we are with our stuff. People who are truly happy are often the most modest and quiet. They don't need to prove their worth with all the expensive things they can buy because they are already happy on the inside. They know that the accessories don't matter and focus on the bigger picture. From a Stoic point of view, this obsession with showing off goods is so sad because it shows people trying to hide their deepest feelings of weakness and fear by using external symbols in the hopes of getting the respect they don't have. But it's only a short-term fix. Real self-esteem can't come from things that are so fragile and stolen that they can be taken away. Real self-esteem comes from having inner strength that comes from personal traits and character strengths, not from random things. Lastly, the Stoics said that behind all the showiness, there is usually deep irrationality and fear. They said that people have existential fear about death, so they try to get past it with legacies and shallow memories so they don't get forgotten. social fear of looking bad, not fitting in, and not being important, and intimate fear of their own darkness. So they need to make up fake identities and cover up soul voids with pretty lies. This is how the dangerous trap of the ego that never feels pleased works. The ego always wants more. So the Stoic suggestion is simple but radical: to drastically cut down on the pointless display of mundane things in order to impress, and instead to spend time and energy developing exceptional inner virtues and talents from the ground up, so that we are better people and professionals with integrity, not just to look that way. To build ties and legacies that go beyond the material and last for a long time. After all, what counts most is who we are, not what we have. So, relationships, memories, and knowledge become more important. On their deathbed, no one would wish they had worked harder to get more things they didn't need. Instead, they would wish they had loved less, grown less as a person, and helped others less. To be truly great where it counts, you have to let go of the shallow in order to achieve higher realms of existence, and you have to stop chasing the false greatness of acting in networks in order to be truly great. This is the Stoic paradox. Feel free to act like you're not here because this time is short. Don't pretend to be someone else when you're not. You're not like that cheap cover letter that just wants likes. You're smarter, more interesting, and more useful. Your Instagram story is not your real life. Don't lose your content in a digital picture, which would mean shining your true light. The eighth thing the Stoics tried to avoid was being jealous or angry when other people did well. For them, these emotions were a dangerous diversion from the real goal, which was to improve themselves and seek morality. Stoic philosophy tells us to keep our attention on our own progress and stay away from comparisons that are harmful and keep us unhappy. Seneca said, "Do not torture ourselves with other people's goods. Having them would not make us happy, but would take away our peace." This shows that real peace comes from inside us, not from outside circumstances. Marcus Aurelius said, "Every man's life is enough, but yours is almost a distraction to the outer universe while you forget your inner self." This shows how important it is to focus on our own growth instead of being distracted by what other people have or achieve. The Stoics say that instead of being angry about other people's good luck or accomplishments, we should celebrate them and learn from them. This way of thinking not only frees us from anger, but it also pushes us to think about what we can do and how we can grow. It is clear what Epictetus meant when he said, "Envy is the companion of ignorance." Knowing this helps us understand that everyone has their own road and problems. The Stoics say that we shouldn't base our value and sense of self-worth on how others see us. They teach us that real success comes from within and that we should try to be our best selves instead of someone else's worst selves. Finally, having a wealth mindset helps us see that everyone can be successful and happy. This stops us from being envious and lets us be grateful and focus on our strengths and virtues. In line with the Stoic ideal of autarky, or mental and spiritual self-sufficiency, this way of life not only makes us better people, but it also sets us up for a more fulfilled and happy life. The ninth and final bad habit that Stoics didn't show in public was wanting to get even and being angry for a long time. The Stoics think that these negative feelings are much more of a sign of weakness than of strength, because they show that we are letting other people's actions control our thoughts and actions. Stoics say that getting payback is the opposite of the goal of mastering yourself and being free inside. The best way to get back at your enemy is not to be like them, says Marcus Aurelius. This means that we are truly strong when we stick to our values and act honestly, no matter how other people treat us. In Stoicism, forgiving someone is not seen as giving in to them, but as letting go of something inside yourself. Seneca stressed that being able to forgive is a sign of strength. Not only does forgiveness show that we are strong, but it also fits with our social and logical nature, which likes peace and unity over conflict and disagreement. Stoics say that instead of keeping grudges or trying to get even, we should use problems as chances to learn and grow as people. Every struggle or hard situation gives us a chance to show our ideals and renew our desire to live a good life with meaning. Being angry keeps the negative pattern going, which hurts other people and slows down our own mental and emotional growth. The best way to get rid of these negative traits is to think and look at ourselves. This helps us focus on making our lives more peaceful and useful. The Stoics teach us that staying away from anger and revenge is not only the right thing to do, but also an important part of supporting and empowering ourselves on the inside. By forgiving others and focusing on our own growth, we can keep our inner peace and be better prepared to deal with life's problems in a kind and helpful way. In line with the Stoic ideas of knowledge, justice, courage, and balance, this way of life not only makes us stronger as individuals, but it also helps make society more understanding and less hostile. This is the end of our tour of the bad habits that Stoics don't show off in public. This is a wise advice that reminds us to change how we act and become better people in today's busy world. By applying these Stoic lessons to our daily lives, we not only want to stop doing bad things, but we also want to develop a calm mind and strong spirit that will help us deal with problems with grace and peace. I hope that this trip through Stoic ideas makes you think about how you deal with the world and maybe changes how you do that. Remember that it's not about hiding our feelings or ignoring what we've been through. It's about deciding how to deal with them. Marcus Aurelius was right when he said that our response determines our road to happiness and knowledge. Imagine facing the problems you face every day with constant peace of mind, turning them into chances to grow. Today is the day to learn how to have a strong mind and be brave when life gets hard. It was hard for Marcus Aurelius in both his personal and political life. He will help us in our search for a better and more meaningful life. His thoughts, which are full of knowledge and deep understanding, are like a mirror that helps us become more brave and in control of ourselves. He thought that we could get through anything by focusing on things we could change, like our thoughts, feelings, and deeds. This would help us stay balanced and find inner peace. Let's look at 10 important lessons from Marcus Aurelius's exercises that will help you live a better and happier life, whether you're having problems at work or at home, or are just looking for advice on how to live a good life. The first lesson is about practicing gratitude. Getting into the habit of being thankful has many benefits. Studies show that when people regularly show gratitude, their happiness, health, and relationships with others all get a lot better. Also, their health is better, they can handle tough situations better, and they experience less stress and worry. One way to make gratitude a part of your daily life is to start a gratitude book. Write down 3 things you're thankful for every day, no matter how small or big they are. This simple habit shifts your attention from the bad to the good, which helps you see and value the gifts that most people miss. Saying thank you to other people is another good way to practice gratitude. If you want to show your friends, family, and people who offer help how much they mean to you, take the time to thank them. Plus, you grow your own sense of gratitude while making your relationships stronger. Also, think about the things you've done well and the problems you've solved. More gratitude for the things that have changed you comes from being aware of your personal growth and lessons learned. A big part is also played by practicing awareness. Getting in touch with the present moment can help you remember the little things that make you happy, like the sun on your face or the laughter of your loved ones. More gratitude for life's simple gifts comes from savoring these moments. Practicing gratitude is a strong way to boost your general mental health, keep a good attitude, and become more resilient. You can develop a deep sense of gratitude by writing in a gratitude book, telling others how much you appreciate them, thinking about how you've grown as a person, and practicing awareness for the good things in life. It was a lovely morning. Instead of just going on when you feel the sun's warmth on your face, you stop to enjoy the moment and share your gratitude for getting to experience that day's warmth and brightness. This is how you can use awareness and gratitude to make your daily life better. Second lesson, be okay with things you can't change. There is an idea that instead of trying to change the things that happen to us, we should send love to the people whose lives are connected to ours in every way. This love should come from an open heart, not just words. One of Marco Aurelio's most important lessons is how to love with a full heart. He teaches us how important it is to accept and let go of things we can't change. This is a central idea in Stoic thought and a key part of becoming strong and resilient. When we accept things we can't change, we can focus on what counts most, our thoughts, feelings, and deeds. Acceptance helps us find peace in the present, even though life has ups and downs that we can't avoid. When we give up the need to control, we let go of fear, which makes it easier to face problems with courage and knowledge. To change your attitude, you should first think about the things in your life that you can't change. Make a list of things that you can't change and practice letting them go as they may. This activity helps you figure out what you can and cannot control, so you can stop wasting time and energy trying to change things that are out of your control. A different helpful method is to practice separation, which means accepting that life is temporary and that everything is subject to change. This helps us see things in a fair way and accept the normal changes that happen in life. Mindfulness meditation is another great way to help you learn to accept things as they are. You become more aware of how you respond to life's problems if you set aside time every day to clear your mind and pay attention to your thoughts and feelings. Being more self-aware helps you see when you're having a hard time accepting things that can't be changed. This makes you more open to learning chances. Accepting what you can't change is a key part of becoming strong and resilient. Practices like mindfulness, detachment, and meditation can help you see life in a more calm and open way. This way of thinking not only helps us deal with problems with bravery and smarts, but it also lets us enjoy the beauty and wealth of life. One of the most beautiful quotes by Marcus Aurelius says, "Accept the things that fate binds you and love the people that fate binds you, but do it with all your heart." Imagine that you had plans to do things outside, but when you get to the park, it starts to rain. You choose to accept what happened instead of getting angry and upset. You change your plans and go to a nearby museum with your friends instead. This creates an interesting and memorable day that shows how acceptance and distance can turn setbacks into valuable experiences. With our stern guide, you can learn how to handle your feelings and reach your full potential. To get it now, go to artestoica.com.br or click on the link in the comment that was saved. Third lesson, understanding your point of view. Marcus Aurelius's wise words show how important it is to be aware of our thoughts and readings, and to remember that our views of events are not facts, but our own personal points of view. By controlling our emotions and thought processes, we can become more resilient and strong inside. Being self-aware, keeping an eye on our thoughts, and noticing when we're stuck in negative or useless habits is the first step to taking charge of our thoughts and views. By being aware of these trends, we can work to replace them with views that are more helpful and logical. Being aware every day, being in the present moment and noticing our thoughts and feelings without judging them, is a good way to get better at this skill. By practicing mindfulness, we become more self-aware and learn to spot times when our views need to be changed. Using cognitive framing to question your thinking is another way to change your point of view. This means recognizing negative or illogical thoughts and questioning them, then changing them with thoughts that are more balanced and make sense. For instance, if you think that you are a loser because you didn't get that raise, try to change your perspective by realizing that your worth and skills are not based on a single result. Relying on good factors can also help you control how people see you. Finding friends, teachers, or role models who live by the values you want to see in others, and taking part in activities and talks that make you feel good, can help you develop a positive and helpful attitude. Mastering our point of view is one of the most important things we can do to become more resilient and strong inside. We can fine-tune our mental viewpoint to have a more healthy and helpful one by doing things like self-awareness, mindfulness, cognitive reframing, and positive influence. This change gives us the strength to deal with problems and the ups and downs of life with more confidence and peace. Marco Aurelio was right when he said that our views can change and that we have the power to do so. Let's say you went to a job interview but didn't get the job. You may feel let down and believe that you did not succeed in getting the raise you desired. By using cognitive retraining techniques, you can change this view and accept that you didn't get the job this time. Change your negative thoughts into more positive ones by seeing it as a step in your work and a chance to learn and get better at what you do. This method of cognitive reworking helps you stay confident and upbeat when you're looking for new chances. Lesson 4. Get better at being detached. Marco Aurelio says it's important to separate yourself from outside events and situations, no matter what other people do or think. He says in his lessons that people should focus on developing their beliefs and spirituality, which is a path that not only brings peace of mind, but also makes people stronger when things go wrong. Keeping your emotions in check through detachment can help you stay calm and stable even when things go wrong. It also helps to not care too much about other people's outcomes, things, or thoughts, which keeps you from feeling stressed, anxious, or let down. To learn detachment in your daily life, you need to pay more attention to how you think and feel about things that happen around you. See how you react to different scenarios and work on being able to notice your feelings and thoughts without getting connected to them. Being more self-aware helps you see when you are focusing too much on things going on around you, so you can consciously shift your attention inward. Another advice is to keep in mind that life is temporary and that things like relationships and situations can change. It is pointless to try to find permanent happiness in these places. Instead, focus on principles and spiritual growth to find true happiness and satisfaction inside yourself. A strong sense of who you are and a clear knowledge of your core ideals can also help you become more detached. Knowing what's most important to you makes it easier to let go of things outside of your control that don't fit with your values. This process is easier when you think about your core values and use them to guide your choices and actions. It can help in this way to do spiritual things or routines like prayer, meditation, or writing in a meditation book. These routines make it easier to connect with your inner self, help you become more self-aware and calm, and help you separate from outside forces. They provide a safe place for inner peace and self-discovery and help people deal with the outside world by keeping their inner spirit strong and durable. Fifth lesson, use your head. If we follow our common sense, the happiness and peace we feel are not the result of an unseen state, but of the ideas we think. Marcus Aurelius had a deep understanding of this subject. He said that the way we think, based on logic, reason, and thought, is not only the key to lasting happiness, but also the key to getting through life's challenges and problems. When we use reason to guide our thoughts and actions, we can make smarter choices, handle our feelings better, and face problems with clarity and a lot of flexibility. Logical thinking is important for getting through tough situations because it helps us see things clearly, come up with answers, and compare the pros and cons of each option. Thinking logically can help us handle tough situations better than acting on strong feelings like fear or anger, which can cloud our judgment and cause us to make bad choices. A good way to improve your logical thinking is to practice critical thinking skills, which include questioning beliefs, reviewing proof, and looking at things from different points of view. Regular self-reflection is another technique. This means looking at your thoughts, beliefs, and actions every so often to learn more about your biases, motivations, and thinking habits. This self-awareness enables you to control your thinking by identifying when it may be affected by feelings or incorrect ideas. It is important to direct your thinking in a more logical way. Controlling your emotions is important because strong feelings can make it hard to think clearly. Meditation and deep breathing exercises are two techniques that can help you control your feelings and make it easier to communicate in a clear and reasonable way. It's also important to look for chances to learn and improve your problem-solving skills by doing things that are mentally difficult. Intellectual growth can happen by trying new intellectual hobbies, reading things that make you think, and having interesting talks with people who share your views. These things not only make you more aware, but they also help you grow as a person and learn more about the world. By constantly feeding our minds and seeing things from different points of view, we develop the logical thinking skills that help us deal with the difficulties of life with clarity and success. Lesson 6. Be humble and show understanding. What is the most recent mistake I made that is similar to the one I'm about to blame? This is something you should ask yourself before you judge someone. Being humble and caring are two of the most important traits for building inner power and resiliency. They help us build better relationships, think more compassionately, and learn more about ourselves. This quote by Marco Aurelio tells us that before we criticize or judge others, we should think about what we've done wrong and try to understand how they feel. Realizing that we are not perfect and that everyone, no matter their place or history, has something to teach us is an important part of being humble. Having a humble attitude makes us more open to feedback and personal growth, which helps us deal with problems and adjust to new situations better. If you want to be more humble in your daily life, try talking less and hearing more. Pay attention to what other people say and think, and be willing to be wrong or learn something from them. Also, be ready to own up to your mistakes and answer for what you did. Your growth and strength can be helped by being willing to be open. Having empathy, on the other hand, means trying to understand how someone else feels, what they think, and what they've been through. You can connect with people more deeply, handle tough situations better, and make relationships stronger with this skill. Active hearing can help you deal with problems more effectively and build understanding. Listen to what other people have to say and try to see things from their point of view without judging them. Asking open-ended questions will help you get to know someone better and show that you care about their feelings and experiences. Doing good things for other people can also help you build understanding. Helping other people, especially those who are having a hard time, helps you understand their feelings and experiences better, which builds a strong sense of kindness and empathy. Being humble and understanding are important parts of becoming mentally and emotionally strong. A more understanding and humble attitude can be gained through active listening, self-reflection, and other activities that support these skills. Lesson 7. Find peace within yourself. The deep influence that our thoughts have on our mental equilibrium and inner peace is highlighted by Marco Aurelio. Developing inner peace is a key part of becoming resilient and keeping your mind in balance, which helps you deal with problems more effectively and show that you are firm when things get tough. Inner peace is very important in many areas. For starters, it helps us deal with worry and anxiety better, giving us inner peace and making us better prepared to handle life's stresses and unknowns. This mental balance works as a wall to keep mental health problems at bay and improve mental health in general. Second, inner peace helps us think clearly and make good choices so we can stay calm even when our feelings are high. In turn, this helps us approach problems with more clarity and focus, which leads to better plans and answers. Doing things that make you happy and calm down is a good way to keep your inner peace. This can mean spending time in nature, doing things that interest you, or getting closer to people you care about. Making self-care a priority and doing things that feed the soul and recharge spiritual energy can help you feel balanced and calm. In the same way, learning how to deal with stress and bad feelings is very important. As part of this, you might do deep breathing techniques or do physical activities like yoga or walks, ways to deal with worry and get your mind back in order. Lastly, think about making gratitude a regular habit. A more upbeat attitude and greater inner peace can be attained by concentrating on the good things in life and showing gratitude for the blessings you have been given. Picture yourself stuck in traffic on your way to work in the morning. Remember that you can't change the traffic instead of getting mad and worried. You can't change how it makes you feel, though. Choose to see this as a chance to think about things and be more aware. Take a deep breath and use the time to focus on listening to educational talks or expressing gratitude for having a job that you can attend. By shifting your attention from what you can't control to what you can turn a situation that could be upsetting into a time of inner peace and growth. Eighth lesson: turn problems into chances. In a moment of deep knowledge, Marco Aurelio said that problems we face are not just problems that need to be solved, they are opportunities for action and growth. He said that things that get in the way become the way. This life-changing realization shows that problems are actually chances to grow and get better. By changing how we think about problems, we can become more resilient and boost our mental strength, which will help us get through even the scariest problems. There are many ways that difficult events can help us grow as people. They can be used to test our limits, learn new skills, gain useful experiences, and reach our full potential. Overcoming problems can also boost our confidence by showing us that we can deal with tough situations and come out better on the other side. Having a positive attitude is the first step to turning problems into opportunities to learn and grow. This way of thinking comes from the idea that we can improve our skills and knowledge by working hard and being dedicated all the time. When you're facing a problem, ask yourself what skills or information you can gain from it and how this will help you grow as a skilled and knowledgeable person. One more way to see problems as opportunities for growth is to learn how to change the way you think negatively. When you're in a tough spot, try to figure out what's making you negative and actively change it into positive thoughts that will help you. For instance, if you feel like you don't have the right skills for that job, see it as a chance to learn and better yourself. Changing your point of view can help you face difficulties with the attitude that sees them as chances to grow and move forward as a person. Also, getting ideas from the stories of people who have been through tough times and come through them can be very helpful. Reading books or listening to podcasts about the lives of great people can help you find strong stories of how people overcame problems and changed for the better. Lastly, you might want to get help from friends or professional advice. Putting together a support system that gives you positive feedback and fresh ideas will be hard, but it will help you see problems as chances to grow, not as impossible problems to solve. One important way to build endurance and inner strength is to use obstacles as opportunities to learn and grow. As long as we keep a positive attitude, get ideas from creative sources, and use our support network, we can turn problems into learning chances and grow emotionally. Ninth lesson: enjoy the present moment. Don't dwell on the past or only imagine what will happen in the future. Marcus Aurelius's wise words stress how important it is to live fully in the moment. He tells us to let go of our fears and regrets about the past and the future. He reminds us that acceptance and enjoyment of every moment of present life are what make us strong and at peace. Focusing on what's going on around us can help us enjoy life to the fullest and develop a deep sense of calm and happiness. Being aware of the present moment has many benefits, such as lowering stress and worry and raising mental health and self-awareness. We can fully experience our feelings and thoughts without getting stuck in the mistakes of the past or the fears of the future when we practice mindfulness and live in the present. This increased awareness lets us discover the depths of our minds and the world around us, which helps us grow as people. Mindfulness meditation is a good way to be in the present moment in your thoughts. Observing your thoughts and feelings without judging them is a part of this type of meditation. It helps you be fully present. Find a quiet place to start, sit down, and concentrate on your breathing. When feelings and thoughts come up, just be aware of them without judging them, and gently bring your attention back to the breath. Even if you only do this for 5 minutes a day, it can have a huge effect on your health. Mindfulness tasks can be added to your daily life as an option to focus on the moment. Mindful eating, in which you enjoy every bite, or walking meditation, in which you pay attention to your surroundings and the way your body feels, are 2 ways to do this. Mindfulness can help you appreciate the present moment more and connect more deeply with your thoughts and feelings when you do it with everyday tasks. Lesson 10. Get your life moving forward. The 10th lesson stresses how important it is to keep going forward and not get sidetracked by thoughts of what's missing if you want to learn more about the world around you. Marco Aurelio stresses how important it is to see and value the good things in your life. It's important to keep a thankful heart and remember that the things we have can turn into strong wants if we can't get them. In the last lesson, Marco Aurelio talks about how important it is to stay determined and keep making progress when facing problems. Keep a growth attitude and think about the good things we already have. This will help us keep going and become stronger even when things get hard. Determination is a key part of getting past problems because it gives you the strength to face them and learn from your mistakes. Making steady progress toward our goals builds endurance and gives us the skills we need to handle the next obstacles. To stay motivated and focused on progress, it's important to set goals that are clear, attainable, and in line with your values and interests. Break these goals down into steps that you can handle, and be sure to celebrate your progress at each stage to keep yourself going. Another way to stay motivated is to practice self-compassion, which means accepting that failure and problems are normal parts of life. When bad things happen, be kind and understanding to yourself. Practice self-compassion to keep a positive mood. Having a group of helpful people who share your goals can also boost your drive. Find friends, teachers, or support groups whose morals and goals are similar to yours. Listen to their stories and learn from their wins and failures. Lastly, take time to regularly think about your progress and accomplishments. Pay attention to the problems you've solved, the skills you've gained, and the ways you've grown as a person along the way. Continuously thinking about yourself can keep you motivated, pushing you to deal with problems and reach your goals. For getting through tough times and building resilience, it's important to stay determined and keep making progress. Setting clear goals, being kind to yourself, getting help, and thinking about your journey are all good ways to stay motivated and make progress even when life gets hard. Putting these classic lessons into practice in your daily life can help you grow as a person, get through tough times, and lead in a more important way, giving your life value. Remember that getting more patient and mentally strong is a lifelong process that takes time, practice, and commitment. Being private has become a luxury good thanks to social networks. It's almost forgotten how smart it is to keep some things secret. Many of us have been fooled into thinking that being completely honest is an act of truthfulness, when in reality, being so honest can hurt us. The awkward truth is that while many people may be proud of our achievements, a lot of them may be inwardly jealous and ready to use any piece of information they get against us. Sharing happy times and achievements can bring people together, but there is a fine line between sharing too much and being too exposed. Right now, being discreet is not just a choice, it's a must. Knowing what should be kept secret is another sign of intelligence, along with learning a lot and having famous wins. Deciding what to share and what to keep to yourself is more than just a safety measure. It's a way to keep yourself safe. Privacy acts as a shield, a safe place where our goals can grow without being seen by others. Understanding that in a world with lots of connections, our peace and privacy are valuable things that must be carefully guarded is at the heart of modern knowledge. What do really smart people do to keep their peace, safety, and growth safe? Get ready, because this video is about 9 things that a truly smart person never tells anyone. Financial information is number 1. When you talk about money, you need to be careful and discreet. Talking about your bank account balance, smart investments, maybe not so proud bills, or big plans for your future money may seem like a real way to connect with the people around you. However, this openness about money comes with risks that aren't so clear at first look. Stoic thinkers pushed for balance and caution in all parts of life, including money matters. For them, keeping their money private was important for keeping their peace and staying away from the risks of envy and greed. Seneca, for example, said that the real wealth is not in having lots of things, but in having the sovereignty of the mind. By accidentally giving away information about your finances, you are making people jealous. This bad emotion, which is often hidden by compliments and smiles, can ruin relationships by turning mutual respect into secret competition, even between close friends. People can see their own financial success as a reflection of their own fears or mistakes, which can lead to unhealthy comparisons and anger. Being discreet isn't just a safety measure in this case, it's also a defense against these risks that you can't see. But it can be tricky to talk about debt. When someone talks about having money problems, it can cause quick opinions that shape a self-image that may not be true. Sharing can help us feel better, but it can also have negative effects on how other people see and treat us. Lastly, our most valuable assets are our future financial plans. If these plans are made public too soon, they could be misunderstood, lost value, or even destroyed. The Stoics also talked about how important it is to be careful and moderate with money. Epictetus, for instance, stressed how important it was to be careful with money and not spend too much. It's not so much about not sharing financial information, it's about being smart about what you do share. This way, we can keep our financial path safe from envy, scams, and unfair judgments. This level of privacy is very important for managing the complicated world of personal spending. 2. Plans for the future. Getting a sneak peek at future plans is like opening a book whose pages are still being written. Every dream and goal is like a seed that might not grow if it is put out in the open too soon, and people look at it with envy or criticism. If you reveal them too soon, it could cause unwanted interference, which would take away from the magic of surprise and the effect they have when they finally bloom. The Stoic philosophers said that the opinions of other people matter a lot more than they should. It is important that we are careful about how we handle our future projects and keep them a secret until they are well underway. It helps us keep our peace of mind and keep outside views from getting in the way. When you share your plans for the future without meaning to, you bring all sorts of energy to the party, from good to really bad. There are people who, even if they mean well, may put their own fears and worries onto you and question or stop your plans before they even get started. Also, some people may try to ruin or beat your plans with knowledge you accidentally gave them out of jealousy or a desire to compete. In an ideal world, we would talk about our goals without worrying about what might happen. But the truth is that some people want our success, while others see it as a threat to their own sense of self-worth. A strategy for strength and survival is to keep future plans a secret until they are sure to come true. By taking this method, you not only keep your goals safe from outside effects, but you also have the freedom to change your mind without worrying about what other people will think. One strong way to create your own unique story is to be able to surprise people by only sharing your successes when they are ready, not before. Something very satisfying about working alone and letting your deeds speak louder than your words is also very pleasant. Behind the scenes, out of the attention, this is where the real magic happens. This is where your ideas can grow and develop without being harmed, getting ready to bloom at the right time. In short, keeping your future plans safe is like guarding the most important part of your journey. It shows that you believe in yourself and your ability to make your dreams come true, even when other people are doubtful or negative. Never lose sight of the star that guides your dreams. One day, everyone will be amazed at how far you have come. 3. Problems with family. It's like walking a line over a gap of feelings and demands when you have family troubles. Sharing these problems with people outside of the close group might seem like a way to get help and understanding, but it often ends up revealing weak spots that can be abused or even misunderstood. Family problems are intricately linked to deep memories and strong feelings. They form an integral part of our lives and shape who we are and how we interact with others. We risk not being able to understand these problems when they are shown to the public. Instead, people might look at them with judgment, sick curiosity, or even entertainment. Also, talking about family problems can lead to unwanted and bothersome advice, where each view can make things even more confusing in a family that is already having a hard time. There are unwritten rules, relationships, and ways of settling conflict in every family. This makes advice that is meant to help more of a hardship than a help. What's even scarier is that these weaknesses could be used against people. In a world where privacy is becoming less common, private information about family problems can be used by people who want to hurt me, to manipulate me from the inside. Respect must be shown to the family for being able to work through their problems together and become better as a result. By keeping that base strong and shielding it from outside weather, you will not only find solutions to problems, but also a renewed sense of power and unity. 4. Problems with health. Talking about health problems in public might seem like a sign of trust and a desire for help, but the way we share information about our health needs careful thought. A person's physical or mental health has a big effect on how they are seen and treated by society, as well as how it affects them personally. Choosing to keep this information more private is not a way to hide something. It's a way to take care of yourself and protect your pride. When you talk about your health problems, current treatments and findings, it can help others understand and support you. But sadly, being open can lead to stigmatization, which is still a big problem in our society. Myths and stereotypes can affect health conditions, especially ones that aren't well understood or are tainted by bias, which can lead to quick decisions and being alone. Also, when someone easily shares information about their health, it can be used against them in work or social settings, narrowing their options or making people see and treat them badly. There is a fine line between asking for help and keeping yourself safe from needless risks. Privacy is another thing to think about in a world that is becoming more and more linked and where information moves easily. People value their privacy a lot these days, and carefully sharing health information is one way to keep track of who can see such private parts of your life. Having this kind of power is important for both taking care of your own health and keeping your independence. People who choose to share can also control how others talk about their health, focusing on their skills and success instead of letting their situation define who they are. Controlling your stories is important for your mental health and self-esteem, especially when you are having health problems. Finally, when we're dealing with health problems, how open we are about them is a very personal choice that should be honored. Choosing a limited approach isn't just a way to avoid being judged. It's also a way to show that our health is a part of our journey, but it doesn't define us completely. Personal privacy is important in this case because it shows that you value the depth and purity of the human experience. 5 personal conflicts. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, said that dealing with fights and personal conflicts takes not only grace, but also a lot of intellectual depth. It may seem like a good idea to talk about differences and issues that come up with friends or co-workers in order to find partners or just work through our feelings. As the saying goes, the best of all things is the ability to discern right from wrong. This behavior, on the other hand, could hurt not only our public image, but also important work relationships. When we share personal details about a fight, whether we're angry, looking for approval, or in need of help, we unintentionally let other people judge and understand our lives. This openness doesn't ease the stress. Instead, it can make things more complicated and involve more people than were originally involved. We also run the risk of being seen as conflict-prone or careless if we bring up personal disagreements. This can hurt our image and trustworthiness at work in particular. It is very important to know how to handle disagreements in a smart way and do so in private. When differences and conflicts with co-workers get out in the open, they can quickly turn into office talk, which makes people less trusting and more competitive. This not only makes the work environment worse, but it also makes people's leadership and group skills look bad, which are very important in the professional world. Also, by keeping these disagreements private, we keep the lines of conversation open with the other side, which lets positive answers and peace happen out of public view. This method not only keeps relationships that are already there safe, but it also helps create a place where respect and understanding for each other win out over judgment and conflict. So, deciding to keep private disagreements and talks out of the view of curious people is a wise and respectful act for both ourselves and others. 6 acts of generosity. Generosity and charity weave a web of kindness and humanity into our lives that shines a light on the darkest parts of being human. But what makes these acts truly meaningful is not the desire for praise or attention, but the honesty and simplicity with which they are done. Epictetus said, "True generosity is doing something good without expecting anything in return, not even praise. But publicizing our good works in a fake way can make them less meaningful, making them into trading chips for praise or social status. When people are careful, real charity grows. When we do good things without telling anyone about them, we support the idea that the main goal is to help, not to be seen doing good things. This method not only protects the recipient's honor by keeping them from feeling owed or exposed, but it also protects the sincerity of our intentions by making sure that the action comes from a genuine desire to help, with no hidden agendas. Furthermore, being discreet in acts of kindness is a strong reminder that a good deed is still valuable even if no one sees it. Instead, there is a unique beauty in knowing that you made a difference in someone's life or in a bigger cause without expecting anything in return, not even praise. This position makes us think more deeply about our reasons for doing things and builds character, which shows up both in public and, perhaps more importantly, when we're alone. Sharing acts of kindness and giving with others keeps us from being judged as cynical or suspecting that these actions are just for show. People are becoming less and less sure about the goals behind good deeds. Opting for discretion goes against the idea that kindness needs to be seen to be accepted. So, by choosing to remain private during our acts of kindness, we are not only protecting the purity of these actions, but we are also encouraging people to think more deeply about what it means to truly help. We're changing the idea of charity so that it's not a way to get ahead, but a real concern for the well-being of others. We're leaving a legacy of kindness that can't be seen, but has an incalculable effect. In the vast seas of human relations, love life is like a coral reef. It's full of bright colors and secrets that are hard to solve. It is a very private part of life, a place where the best emotions and closest ties grow. Sharing too many details about this part of life, on the other hand, not only dulls its colors, but also makes its most private parts open to public view, losing the closeness that makes it so special. Secrets about love, private moments and feelings should not be shared with other people. Doing so is not an act of hiding, but a celebration of how important those ties are. Today, being seen all the time is often confused for being real, so picking what to keep private takes wisdom and care for the fragile nature of emotional bonds. By not letting people know about our love lives, we protect both ourselves and our partners from being hurt. Every time someone says something in public or on social media, their real feelings could be turned into shows that can be interpreted, commented on, and sometimes unfairly judged. This extra exposure can put stress on the relationship by putting outside standards on a dynamic that should be free to flow, led only by mutual understanding and trust. Also, when a pair is in a relationship, privacy lets them explore, grow, and face challenges without being watched. This creates a safe place for sensitivity, where mistakes are used to learn and not for talk. This shielding from the outside world makes the bond stronger, so it can stand up to any weather that may come. But when there are mistakes or breakups, the reserve that was chosen ahead of time comes in handy. The process of rebuilding and redefining oneself is very personal. It can happen in a more honest and healthy way when it's not being watched closely by the public. Protecting the specifics of your love life is a sign of sincerity and mutual respect, and it shows that you know that true love grows in close quarters, away from spotlights and crowds. This is a warning that being linked to another person is the start of a whole world that should be kept secret, like the most valuable treasure. Opinions about other people. In a world where opinions and judgments are formed more and more quickly, it is wise to keep some opinions about other people secret. This is a very valuable trait. Sharing negative or critical thoughts about someone in public may seem like an honest or truthful thing to do, but this behavior could hurt relationships, cause arguments, and in the end, make the person look less honest. For the truth, how we see other people is shaped by our own experiences, beliefs, and feelings. By choosing to keep these thoughts to ourselves, we show both discretion and respect for how complicated everyone's journey is. This choice gives us a chance to think more deeply about where our criticism comes from and to see that what bothers us about other people may be a sign of unsolved problems in ourselves. Protecting our privacy from our bad opinions of other people is another way to keep and strengthen relationships at work and in social situations. Spreading negative views can lead to pointless disagreements and conflicts, which can change the way a group or team works. If we choose the road of caution, we avoid starting arguments and misunderstandings, which makes us look more trustworthy and grown up. This way of thinking also makes us more likely to look for more helpful ways to fix our problems. We might choose to talk to the person personally and give them feedback in a polite and helpful way instead of criticizing them. This kind of attitude helps people grow as people and builds relationships that are more real and last longer. So, deciding to have bad thoughts about other people behind their backs is a wise and self-improvement practice. It says that even though the right to free speech exists, it is also our responsibility to be aware of how our words can affect individual relationships and to handle these with care. This choice shows a deep understanding of how important togetherness, peace, and respecting each other are for making a community that cares for each other and works together. Spiritual beliefs. One way to understand why it's important to keep our spiritual beliefs private is to think about how various cultural and social settings may influence how those beliefs are perceived. For instance, in some work or school settings, being open about our religious beliefs or spiritual practices could lead to bias or prejudice from co-workers or bosses. Like Epictetus, the Stoics believed that people should live their lives based on reason and ethics, not on faith views from other people. They thought that faith was about building character and being okay with things we can't change. They were able to follow their lessons honestly without worrying about what other people would think by keeping this part of their philosophy secret. A modern example of why it's important to keep spiritual views to yourself could be an employee who meditates every day as part of his spiritual life. He may really care about this practice, but he might not want to talk about it at work for fear of being misunderstood or given a name. In the end, keeping our spiritual views to ourselves lets us live them honestly, without worrying about how other people will see or judge us. It lets us explore our faith in a private and honest way, without anyone else getting in the way. We've learned the whys and hows of protecting not only our safety and peace, but also our own growth on this trip. Imagine waking up each day with a crystal clear sense of purpose, unaffected by setbacks, unperturbed by the chaos around you, and relentlessly focused on what really matters. Doesn't it sound like something really superhuman? Yet this was the daily reality for one of the most powerful men in ancient history, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. His personal notes, a collection that has survived millennia, are not just reflections of a bygone era, but advice that continues to endure to this day. To harness the power of self-discipline amidst the noise of life today, that is why, in this part, we have set out to compile a series of lessons that will guide you in cultivating an undisturbed state, so that nothing can disturb the tranquility within you. 1. Map out your daily purpose by exploring its principles, not as abstract concepts, but as practical tools for living a more disciplined and fulfilled life. Being Stoic means learning how to use bad luck to your benefit, mental turmoil to peace, and life's unknowns to your strength. The Stoic way of life can help you find deep peace, deal with daily stress, or become more active in a world full of instant gratification and endless distractions. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Stoic philosophy grounds us in the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. "Virtue is the one thing that cannot be attacked," said Marcus Aurelius. "It's not just about enduring life, but thriving in it no matter what." Wait until we talk about Marcus Aurelius's powerful, life-changing lessons and how they can be used to build a strong and focused life today. As we embark on this journey through Stoic philosophy and the profound teachings of Marcus Aurelius, at the heart of the philosophy is the belief that self-discipline begins with finding your purpose. However, what does it really mean to discover your reason for being? It's about discovering what really matters to you, what drives you at your core, and aligning your daily actions with that deeper calling. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is changing. Our life is what our thoughts make of it." Marcus Aurelius often wrote about living in harmony with nature, which in Stoic terms means understanding your role in the larger scheme of things and acting in harmony with your virtues. Motive wasn't just an idea for Marcus Aurelius. It was a practical guide that helped him make all of his choices, from small ones to big ones. He thought that knowing your purpose was what made you want to get up in the morning and face the day's challenges. This isn't about big accomplishments or praise from other people. It's about doing the things that life has given you to do and being honest and committed to each one. In a modern context, finding your purpose can often feel overwhelming. We live in a world saturated with choices and distractions that can lead us away from our true paths. This is where Stoic knowledge is not only helpful, but necessary. Stoicism teaches us to look past our wants and feelings to find what is really important for our growth and well-being. As Marcus Aurelius said, "He who has a why to live for can endure almost any how." It encourages us to ask, what is really worth my time and energy, and how can my deeds today add to the bigger good and my personal development? Imagine what you are naturally drawn to, where you find a deep meaning, or what problems you are driven to solve as we talk about how to use this principle in our daily lives. The purpose of your life is shown by these markers, and once identified, the Stoic practice of daily reflection becomes invaluable as you continually align your actions with your purpose by saying no to what doesn't serve you and yes to what does. You cultivate the self-discipline necessary to live a meaningful and impactful life. Let's take this thought from Marcus Aurelius and practice it every day. Ask yourself every morning, what should I do today? And every night, have I lived true to my purpose? Over time, this practice will not only build self-discipline, but it will also transform your life into a more purposeful and fulfilling journey. When Marcus Aurelius wrote about self-discipline, a recurring theme in his reflections was the importance of trusting yourself. With being with yourself, it's not just about self-sufficiency, but an integral part of Stoic philosophy that emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility and independence. Don't worry about the future, act in the present, Marcus Aurelius told us. It is not about separation or rejecting the help of others, but about understanding that the final responsibility for our actions, responses, and personal growth lies with us. In Stoicism, the idea of focused on what is within our control is important. To deal with the problems that life throws at us, Aurelius often talked about the power of the self. A wise man named Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't expect things to happen the way you want them to. Wish them as they happen." We make a connection with our inner strength and resilience when we depend on ourselves. This principle teaches us to trust our abilities to navigate through life's uncertainties and adversities. It is about building confidence not through arrogance, but through competence and a deep understanding of our own capabilities and virtues. This self-reliance is liberating, but also challenging in today's interconnected world, where opinions and advice are constantly at our fingertips. However, Stoicism teaches us to filter out the noise and trust our judgment and reason. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not, Marcus Aurelius reminds us. By depending on ourselves, we also develop liberty in our decision-making processes, allowing us to make choices matched with our values and principles, rather than being moved by external forces or temporary feelings. This autonomy is crucial to maintaining personal integrity and living a life that is true to oneself. So how can we begin to truly trust ourselves? It starts with small steps, making promises and sticking to them, setting personal goals and working toward them independently, and taking time to think on our choices and their connection with our core values. We become more self-disciplined over time by doing these things. This makes us stronger and more stable when life gets hard. The Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius always talked about how important it was to keep going, to show up every day, both physically and spiritually. This practice is not about monumental efforts unleashed sporadically, but about quiet, steady dedication to daily tasks that together forge a disciplined life. The waves of the sea are our inspiration. We face life as it faces the shore, Marcus Aurelius tells us. The Stoic idea of living in harmony with nature meant the same thing to Marcus Aurelius as showing up every day. Nature, in his view, didn't just want us to live. It also wanted us to take part in life and make a difference in the world through our deeds, no matter how small or ordinary they feel. Each day presents itself as a new stage, not for big fights, but for showing dedication to our beliefs and responsibilities. When you work hard every day, you build and test your character. For this reason, Marcus Aurelius said, "Fire tests gold, adversity tests the strong man." In today's world, where distractions are many and motivations can be fleeting, the idea of showing up every day takes on even more meaning. It is easy to feel inspired one day and completely sidetracked the next. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of continuity in this situation. Every day counts. It is not the intensity, but the regularity of our actions that cultivates true discipline. This does not mean that every day must be a masterpiece of productivity, but rather that it is about not letting a day go unnoticed or unused, whether it is advancing our career, improving our health, or deepening our relationships. Progress in any area requires the simple, often overlooked commitment to show up every day. Moreover, showing up every day is deeply intertwined with the Stoic practice of mindfulness, of being present in the now and doing today's work today, without the responsibilities of yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's problems. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about focusing on the present, about doing the task at hand to the best of one's ability. As he once said, "Do not seek to make tomorrow better, make today perfect in its effort." This method is what turns habit into practice and effort into growth. To develop this practice, start small. Figure out why you want to show up. It could be as simple as writing a paragraph of that book you've been wanting to write, doing a 5-minute workout, or spending 10 uninterrupted minutes with a loved one. The scale is not what transforms us, but the simple act of showing up. Do something new. To build the CCCIA that defines the Stoic philosophy, you have to make a promise and keep it every day. By adopting this daily practice, you embody the Stoic belief in personal responsibility and continuous self-improvement. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "True happiness lies in accepting the present as it is, not as you wish it to be." You become a living testament to the idea that while we may not control outcomes, we can control our efforts. In the consistent act of showing up, we find the discipline necessary to lead a purposeful and fulfilling life. This Stoic practice, strongly supported by Marcus Aurelius, goes far beyond simply making life knowingly difficult. Being ready for the unexpected in life, becoming more resilient, and being grateful for what you have are all things that this book is about. As Marcus Aurelius once reflected, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius, like many Stoics, believes that experiencing discomfort voluntarily helps strengthen the mind against times when life might force us to face discomfort. This could mean deciding to do without certain pleasures, meeting physical challenges, or simply practicing self-denial in small, everyday choices. The logic is simple. If you are used to adversity, sudden adversity will not throw you off balance. You are building your resilience skills. I guess you could say that it helps you stay calm and ready for life's challenges. But why embrace discomfort in a world that constantly strives to offer us comfort? It's based on the basic idea of Stoicism that people grow when they push themselves beyond their comfort zones. By willingly moving into less safe places, we not only test our mental and emotional boundaries, but also expand them. This practice is not about punishing oneself, but about changing perspective, about seeing comfort as a luxury that we can do without if we choose to do so. To become more grateful, we need to practice voluntarily feeling uncomfortable. When we don't have our usual comforts, we start to value them more. Skipping a meal can help you appreciate the food you do have more, and walking instead of driving can help you appreciate your health and movement even more. In addition, voluntary discomfort connects us to the reality that many people live with it involuntarily every day. This connection can foster empathy, humility, and a deeper understanding of the human condition, anchoring us more firmly in the reality of the world we share with others. The question is, how to make this practice a part of our daily lives. Begin with little things. Choose something manageable, perhaps getting up an hour earlier than usual, limiting your use of technology for a day, or choosing the stairs instead of the elevator. That's not how bad the discomfort is that matters. What matters is how often and why it happens. It takes more mental strength and self-discipline to do things that make you uncomfortable on purpose. Live your life the way you want to. There are things we can control and things we can't control, and this principle tells us to put all of our energy into the things we can control. The way we deal with life's problems can change a lot because of this fairly easy idea. It can make us feel less anxious and more peaceful and strong. So what exactly is within our control? According to Stoicism, primarily it is our own actions, reactions, and judgments, our thoughts, our will, our responses. These are the realms where we have agency. We have no direct control over anything outside of ourselves, like the weather, other people's actions, or larger-scale events. Marcus Aurelius consistently emphasized this point in his meditations, pointing out that getting upset or disturbed by things outside our control is not only useless, but counterproductive to our well-being. Practicing the dichotomy of control begins with this realization. We have some control over what happens in the outside world, but not full control. The Stoic learns to accept this fact, not idly, but as a freeing truth. By focusing on our own deeds and letting go of our tendency toward results, we can keep our peace of mind and usefulness regardless of situations. Indifferent or cut off from the world does not mean this. Instead, we deal with it in a more positive way, putting our energy into areas that can really improve our daily lives. Applying the binary of control means asking ourselves, is this within my control, before responding to any situation? Stoic philosophy advises letting it go and moving on if it isn't. This is easier said than done, of course. To get better at it, we need to practice being aware and be reminded of what we can actually do. In addition, this practice has practical implications for how we set goals and expect results. Putting our happiness or self-esteem at risk by relying on outcomes that are controlled by many outside factors is a bad way to work toward our goals and will only lead to frustration. In comparison, Stoicism teaches us to find happiness in the goal itself, in our loyalty to our ideals, and in the work we put forth. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers did not promise a life without difficulties. Instead, they offered a strategy for keeping inner peace and honor regardless of life's ups and downs. The more we follow this principle, the better our lives will be, and we can also positively affect the lives of those around us by showing them how to stay calm and strong when life throws them curveballs. Instead of seeing yourself as a passive recipient of life's problems, this idea suggests that you have a deep understanding of your own responsibility and a Stoic commitment to exercising your own power. Taking charge of our thoughts and deeds is what Stoicism tells us to do. The Stoic idea that our happiness and peace of mind depend more on how we feel inside than on what happens outside of us is based on this idea of independence. People may face problems or unfair treatment, but this is not meant to downplay those things. Instead, it's meant to shift the focus from what happens to us to how we deal with it. According to Aurelius, every outside event gives us a choice, how we will let it shape who we are. That our emotional health is dependent on outside events is rejected when we refuse to be victims. This is a liberating realization that opens the door to greater personal growth and resilience. We start by noticing how we usually react to difficult situations when we use this concept. We immediately look for external factors or others to blame. We devote our energy to complaining about the situation rather than addressing it. Instead of denying our feelings, we need to better understand them and focus our energy in a more positive way in order to change these habits. It involves acknowledging our pains and disappointments while recognizing our ability to move forward in spite of them. Furthermore, this Stoic teaching encourages us to see every obstacle as an opportunity to practice virtue and strengthen our character. From a basic level, this point of view is practical and useful. It transforms challenges into opportunities, transforms potential feelings of helplessness into moments of choice where we can assert our agency. When we focus on what really matters, Marcus Aurelius said, "The mind has unlimited power." Every challenge then becomes a test of our commitment to our values and a chance to show how strong, persistent, and resilient we are, which are all traits that describe the Stoic ideal. Stoics believe that people should be emotionally independent, and we can show this by never playing the victim. To be able to deal with the world more freely and fully, we build up an inner strength of calm and equanimity. According to Marcus Aurelius, nothing can happen to us that nature has not prepared for us to endure. This does not mean becoming insensitive or indifferent, but reaching a state where our happiness is not easily disturbed by the ups and downs of life. In this way, we do not live at the mercy of our circumstances, but in alignment with our deepest principles, regardless of what life throws at us. Marcus Aurelius supported this concept not only as a personal practice, but as a way to greater freedom and satisfaction. According to the Stoic view, happiness lies in the action, not the result. Controlling our urges by waiting satisfaction does not mean giving up pleasure. It means finding a better form of fulfillment that fits with our values and long-term goals. Delayed satisfaction, in the Stoic sense, includes a planned delay of instant wants for more important and lasting benefits. That means making decisions that might not make you feel good right away, but will lead to long-term happiness and growth as a person. As Marcus Aurelius taught, real power over ourselves lies in picking where we place our attention. This principle is particularly relevant in our modern culture of instant everything, where the ability to wait, to postpone something for something better, is a rare and valuable skill. Delaying pleasure was also a way for Stoics like Marcus Aurelius to keep control over their wants. Getting caught up in short-lived joys, in his opinion, could make a person lose their freedom because they would be controlled by their wants and needs. Instead, by practicing discipline and picking our actions based on reason and forethought, we foster a life not only of temporary joys, but of permanent calm and happiness. Implementing delayed gratification in daily life can begin with simple habits. It could mean saving money instead of spending it impulsively, choosing healthy food over fast food, or devoting time to study or the practice of a skill instead of immediate leisure activities. As Marcus Aurelius recommended, don't be bothered by external things you can't control. Each of these choices supports the Stoic practice of choosing long-term benefits over short-term comfort or pleasure. Moreover, the benefits of this practice are extensive. Research in psychology supports the Stoic view by linking delayed gratification with better outcomes in career, education, health, and personal relationships. People who can postpone immediate gratification are often better at managing stress, achieving their goals, and living healthier, more fulfilling lives. Not listening to negative feedback isn't the only thing this idea means. It's about cultivating mental resilience, fortitude in the face of adversity. No matter what other people say or think, this skill lets you stick to your beliefs and keep your mind on your goals. According to Stoics, you can't change other people's opinions about you, so you shouldn't rely on them for support or advice. Don't seek approval from others. Seek the approval of your own conscience, Marcus Aurelius once said. This philosopher-emperor wrote a lot about focusing only on actions and thoughts that you can control, stressing that true peace comes from within and can't be shaken by judgments from others. This Stoic neutrality is not about demeaning others, but about keeping an internal center of control that pushes us to filter out noise that does not serve our higher goals or line with our values. Today, when everyone has an opinion and criticism is easy to find, it's important to ignore the naysayers. It involves realizing that, while helpful feedback can be valuable for progress, false criticism should not discourage us from our path. Marcus Aurelius said, "Remember that every man desires to do good, but often does not know it." This distinction is vital. The idea of Stoicism tells us to think about where and why people fault us. To be in line with our core values, something must be well-informed and done with good intentions. Furthermore, practicing this principle involves building a personal philosophy that is robust enough to withstand external pressures. As long as you're not cocky about it, you should be sure of your choices and deeds. Self-confidence starts with thinking about yourself, as Marcus Aurelius said. This is what Marcus Aurelius did daily, not only as a master, but as a human being aiming for virtue in a complicated world. Besides making us more emotionally strong, being able to ignore naysayers helps us focus on our long-term goals and less on other people's negative opinions. People in our culture put a lot of value on breaking out of the cycle of social validation and staying true to who you are. Choosing who to follow means those who represent the Stoic qualities of knowledge, bravery, justice, and temperance. This quote by Marcus Aurelius shows how important it is to keep trying to be good. These people could be from history, the present, or even stories and fiction. They should be strong, honest, and able to think for themselves. It is important to be honest with yourself. This principle is not limited to simply recounting events, but involves a deep and thoughtful examination of one's thoughts, actions, and responses throughout the day. If these actions are in line with Stoic beliefs and qualities like balance, justice, knowledge, and courage, then they are good. Being good means following nature and reason, as the ruler said. Experience is the mother of science. This principle is not about focusing on mistakes or engaging in self-criticism, but about watching and changing. Because it's about taking what you learn from everyday things and using it to keep getting better. In order to make sure he was not only doing his job as ruler, but also improving as a person and philosopher, Marcus Aurelius used this method. Incorporating this practice into modern life can be incredibly beneficial. It tells us to take a moment to think about the day before you go to sleep. During this time, you can ask yourself several key questions. How did I respond to challenges today? Did I act in line with my principles? What did I do wrong? Were there times when I lost control, and why? Being aware of yourself better and living a more thoughtful life are both helped by thinking about these things. At the end of each day, this practice can also help you feel peaceful and satisfied. It lets you deal with issues like stress or annoying thoughts by facing them head-on instead of putting them off until the next day. There are a lot of distractions and stresses in our fast-paced world that can make it easy to lose sight of our bigger goals. Self-accountability that is both soft and strict can be done by honestly going over your day. It's about noting your skills and admitting places for growth without criticism. This Stoic habit builds resilience and wisdom as it teaches you to be both the student and the teacher in your life's journey, constantly learning from your own experiences and striving to embody the virtues that define Stoicism. The more you do this, the more your daily life will become more in line with the values you hold dear. Stoics believe that the time between 3 and 5 a.m., when most people are fast asleep and it is quiet, is a special time to connect with God. The universe seems to open its doors at this time, giving us a special link to the very core of life. During this time, the world seems to open its doors and give us a direct link to the very core of being. At this beautiful hour, dawn is just beginning to form. The first rays of light are touching the sky, and nature slowly wakes up from its sleepy state at night. Stoics shouldn't see this time as something to be worried about, but as a gift that is worth a lot. People can get lost in the quiet of the night and let their minds wander, tuning into the flow of the world that they can't see. It's a time to be at peace with yourself, think about life, and get in touch with what's important in this short world. In this rare moment, waking up is more than just a physical act. It's an awakening of the soul and a chance to feed the spirit and improve mental and physical health. When you wake up early in the morning, you can reach a higher level of awareness. Your mind will be open and fresh, and your thoughts will run easily. Your mental sharpness will be as sharp as a philosopher's sword. Stoic philosophy tells us there are 5 important things we should do as soon as we wake up in this beautiful moment. 2 ways to start the day are to breathe deeply and fill our lungs with fresh air. Each breath should clean and energize us. The second thing we can do is meditation, which means to clear our minds and find peace in the quiet inside. The third step is to think about our values and goals, remembering what's important in life and making a promise to follow those beliefs. It's a chance to remember that you have a deep inner world that you can explore and grow, an ocean of possibilities just waiting to be found. These quiet times are where we can find the answers we're looking for and the peace we want in a world full of noise and other things that can take our attention away. At dawn, it's important to take some time to connect with yourself and the world around you. Here, in this beautiful moment, we can get the motivation to face the day with fresh hope and drive. Getting up in the middle of the night isn't a bother. It's a chance to grow as a person and remember our link to something bigger than ourselves. By doing what the Stoics say to do when we wake up at this particular time, we can feel deeply at peace with ourselves and have more energy. We can improve our spiritual, mental, and physical health, which will help us face the difficulties of the new day with peace and confidence. Positive self-affirmations are number 1. It is now between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are the best times to feel connected to yourself and the world. Affirmations for yourself have the most powerful and greatest meaning at this magical time. Personal statements are more than just words. They show that you believe in yourself, are confident, and really want to do well. They are strong memories of how strong we are inside and how we can face problems with courage and drive. We are practicing one of the ideas of Stoicism when we make statements in the early morning silence. This idea is to recognize and grow the hidden power within our minds. Look at Emma as an example. Emma knows that saying positive things to herself every day will help her feel better about herself and deal with the problems that come up every day. Emma falls into quiet when she wakes up in the middle of the night and says to herself over and over, "I am capable, I am valuable, I am worthy of love and respect." These simple words become her motto, her way through times of fear and doubt. For Emma, personal affirmations are more than just words. They are a bright light in the dark that reminds her all the time of her own strength and limitless potential. They give her the strength and resolve to face problems head-on, seeing each one as a chance to grow and gain power. Emma doesn't reject that problems exist. She sees them as chances to learn and grow, which is what Stoic philosophy says we should do. Repeating statements at dawn not only helps you believe in yourself more, but it also builds mental strength that helps you keep going with courage and determination. It always serves as a lesson that we can get through anything that stands in our way. It's a statement that we are valuable and worthy as people. Personal words that affirm our worth are a strong way to change how we feel about ourselves and create the future we want. It gives us power over our lives and lets us steer them in the direction we desire. The act of choosing for ourselves and giving ourselves power is what lets us find happiness and success on our own. Emma's story shows how personal encouragement can give you the drive and strength to deal with problems and lead others. People around her are motivated and brave by her, and she reminds them that they have the power to change their lives. The quote serves as a lesson that we can all achieve great things if we believe in ourselves and keep going after our dreams. The Stoic theory says that problems should be faced and used as chances to learn, grow, and become more resilient. It tells us to accept problems as a normal part of life and to use each one as a chance to grow spiritually and personally. With its peaceful and beautiful atmosphere, sunrise is a great time to think about yourself and boost your confidence through personal mantras. During this time of quiet and thought, we can connect with our own inner knowledge and get the strength and focus we need to deal with the problems we face. Personal mantras are based on the Stoic ideas that you should be patient, brave, and always trying to get better. These ideas are the keys to happiness and success in life. It tells us that believing in ourselves and being ready to keep going, even when things get hard, is the first step to real self-fulfillment. In the end, personal mantras help us have a growth attitude so we can live our lives with joy and purpose. Number 2, giving your dreams a lot of thought. In the middle of the night, when everyone else is asleep, there is a special time between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. and 5 in the morning. Stoics believe that this time of day is a good time to think deeply about dreams. Stoics believe that waking up at this time is not just a chance, but a message from our inner selves that we should learn more about ourselves. It is an invitation to connect with the infinite knowledge that lives in our souls. There is a lot more to dreams than meets the eye. Dreams aren't just brief pictures that make no sense. They are signs from deep inside us that give us advice, bring to light secret wants and fears that would otherwise stay buried in our mind. There is a story that wants to be told and an inner voice that wants to be heard in every picture and scene. If we remember and think about our dreams, they give us a glimpse into our minds, showing us the best and worst parts. It gives us the motivation and strength to face obstacles and move forward on the path to personal growth and good change. Every dream is a piece of the picture that is our lives. It gives us a chance to see what we're capable of and find new opportunities. This story about James shows very clearly how dreams can give us ideas and help us on our own journey. James felt stuck in his job and in his personal life for a long time. But one night he had an intense dream that he was climbing a very steep, rocky mountain. He had to deal with many problems and hurdles as he went up, but he never lost sight of his main goal, to get to the top. When James woke up, he felt refreshed and ready to go. He saw that his dream was a metaphor for his life, the problems he was having, and how he was able to solve them. Thinking about our dreams not only helps us figure out our deepest fears and wishes, but it also helps us see our own goals and objectives more clearly. It helps us focus on what's important by letting go of the problems and distractions of daily life. It lets us find out what really drives and inspires us and explore our greatest potential. Stoic philosophy says that we should stay determined and interested in our journey of self-discovery, whether it's during the day or in our thoughts at night. It tells us to see every thought and event as a chance to learn and grow. It tells us that the way to happiness and self-fulfillment starts with looking inside ourselves and making up our minds to deal with the problems that come up in our lives. Getting up in the middle of the night gives us a chance to think about our thoughts, explore our inner world, and remind ourselves of how strong we are. Now is the time to connect with our inner knowledge and know that we can get through anything that comes in our way. In the middle of the night, even when everything seems dark, we can find the light and the way to change our lives and find happiness. The third thing is to practice meditation. Early morning between 3 and 5 a.m. has a soft hug that lets us see into the depths of our being. When we wake up during this time, even if we can't remember our dreams, it's a good sign from our inner selves that we should explore the space of peace and spiritual power that's there. According to Stoic philosophy, we should use this valuable time to meditate and find inner peace and strength. In the early morning, when we meditate, we not only quiet ourselves, but we also enter a place inside ourselves where we can connect deeply with the forces of the world that we can't see. We should forget about the problems in the outside world and enjoy the peace of the present moment. We can connect with the knowledge that lies deep inside us and listen to the quiet words of our soul in this holy silence. When we meditate first thing in the morning, we can accept and value all of our deepest thoughts and feelings. We allow stress and worry to go away, making room for peace and knowledge. As we become quiet observers of our own inner experience, we don't judge or fight what comes up for us. When we accept everything as it is, we find real peace and power. Stoic thought stresses how important it is to face and get through problems with calm, acceptance, and persistence. It becomes a habit to meditate first thing in the morning to recognize this inner power and get our minds ready for the day ahead. It helps us stay calm in the middle of chaos, find balance when things go wrong, and stick to our plan to keep going no matter what. Meditation in the early morning not only helps you find inner peace, but it also gives you a clear picture of who you are and the life you want to live in balance with the world around you. It helps us figure out what our real hopes and dreams are and gives us the understanding we need to make kind and wise choices. There is a chance to connect deeply with the soul and the source spirit of the world when you meditate at dawn. In line with Stoic ideas about finding peace within, it encourages us to look deep inside ourselves and find balance and unity. This practice helps us feel better, think better, and get ready for the new day with hope and confidence. As a way to keep the Stoic practice alive, this rite helps us remember how important it is to stick to our principles and values, even when things get hard. People see meditating at dawn as a way to find spirituality and learn more about themselves. There are deep questions about ourselves and life in general that it helps us solve. It lets us explore the deepest parts of our minds and learn more about who we really are. This habit not only calms us down, but it also gives us strength to face the problems in life with unshakable drive. It helps us find the strength to keep going even when things get hard, which is in line with the Stoic ideas of inner power. Last but not least, meditating in the early morning is seen as a way to share and spread inner peace and strength. In line with Stoic ideas, it tells us to assist others as they seek to understand and master their own inner selves. That real power comes from within, and that we can find lasting peace and happiness by getting in touch with our own spirit and the soul of the world. The fourth thing is to wake up with gratitude. Stoicism teaches us to see and value everything in life, from the big events to the little pleasures we enjoy every day. This practice gets the mind ready for a fresh day full of possibilities and hope. When we wake up with gratitude in our hearts, we can see the good things in our lives and approach difficulties with a fresh outlook. When we practice gratitude first thing in the morning in this peaceful moment, we feel calm right away. We get a boost of energy from this feeling that stays with us all day, making us stronger and helping us stay on track. So, being thankful becomes a spiritual practice that helps us connect with ourselves and the world around us, making us more appreciative and kind to all living things. Practicing gratitude is not only a way to improve yourself, but it's also a great way to get ideas for living a full and interesting life. Stoic ideas say that we should appreciate life in its fullness, and noticing and enjoying the good things in our lives can help us build a mindset of plenty and happiness. When we wake up in a quiet place before dawn, we can think about all the good things in our lives, like the love and peace that surround us and the chances that the new day brings. Your gratitude grows for every moment. This practice not only makes us feel calm, but it also helps us see problems as chances to grow as people. Not only does showing gratitude make us appreciate life more, but it also reminds us of our inner power and the good qualities we have. It helps us see the good and beautiful things in the world, even when things are hard, and it gives us the strength and hope to keep going. Being thankful helps us find our way to a meaningful and happy life, and it gives us the faith and hope to get through hard times. When we show gratitude every morning, we create a source of good energy that helps us move forward on our path to happiness and success. 5. Get to know yourself better in the morning. Writing in a journal at these times is more than just putting words on paper. It's a way to learn about and think about yourself. Each written word leads to a deeper understanding of oneself and helps the soul start the day with a good attitude and peace of mind. At this holy time, the journal acts as a quiet confidant, a loyal friend who accepts your feelings and thoughts without judging them. Not only is picking a favorite book a matter of taste, it is also an important step toward making a private place for inner conversation. You can draw or write down your goals, fears, dreams, and problems on every blank page. When you write in the early morning, it's like a holy practice. It's a time to clear your mind, forget about small things, and focus on what's important. You can let your thoughts flow easily without worrying about what other people might think. When you write in a journal, you create a safe space where you can explore and recognize your inner truth. Writing in a book every morning is more than just a way to record your thoughts and feelings. It's also a way to heal. It gets rid of stress and tightness that built up during the night, making your mind and heart feel better. Every written word is a chance to let go of the past and face the present with fresh drive. It's a way to free your emotions and grow as a person. As you write down your inner thoughts and feelings in the book, you find that you are able to face difficulties with courage. This exercise leads you to inner peace and independence by letting you explore and learn about yourself. Writing down your feelings and thoughts can help you understand what is causing your worry and set you up to deal with problems in a healthy way. Following the Stoic ideas of inner strength and self-control, writing in your book every morning becomes an important part of your daily life. A habit that comes from the Stoic idea of living with purpose and awareness. As you write each page, you are adding to your own story of spiritual and personal growth. Finding meaning and purpose in every word you write helps you connect with yourself and the world around you more deeply. The time between 3 a.m. and 5 in the morning. Give people more than just quiet time. They give you chances to find peace within yourself and grow a stronger bond with the world around you. By following Stoic principles, you plant the seeds of mental satisfaction and self-improvement, seeing each moment as a chance to grow and do well on your journey through life. Lesson 6. Having a positive attitude and getting closer to Stoicism. Early in the morning, when everything is still and the sun is just starting to rise, there is a wonderful chance to practice gratitude. Stoic ideas are at the heart of this practice, which is not only about noticing the good things in our lives, but also about having a positive attitude that helps us deal with life's problems with strength and drive. According to the old theory of Stoicism, which has roots in Greece and Rome, we should live in peace with nature and be calm when life gives us both good and bad things. This philosophy can be seen in the way we practice gratitude first thing in the morning. It helps us see the good in things and find strength in even the worst conditions. Every morning when we wake up, before our fears start to creep in, we take a moment to think about what we are thankful for. It can be something as easy as feeling the sun on our skin or a soft breeze on our face. Expressing gratitude for these little things makes us feel good in the morning instead of stressed and anxious. Practicing gratitude first thing in the morning also strengthens our link to Stoicism by telling us how important it is to accept things as they are. The Stoics thought that we can't change the things that happen to us, but we can change how we respond to them. Practicing gratitude trains our minds to concentrate on the things we can change and let go of the things we can't. We can develop an attitude of respect for other people and the world around us by practicing gratitude. When we appreciate what other people do for us, it strengthens our group bonds and creates a sense of togetherness and solidarity. Stoicism, which encourages living in peace with other people and treating them with kindness and respect, is based on this idea of relationship with others. Everybody can practice gratitude in the early morning, whether they're doing it alone or with other people. Because we show gratitude to others and share our gifts with those around us, we create a positive and giving environment that helps everyone. Practicing gratitude in this way helps build community and makes people feel more connected and united. Expressing gratitude first thing in the morning also helps us keep a positive attitude that empowers us to handle life's obstacles with strength and drive. We don't think about what we don't have or what is missing. Instead, we think about what we do have and the good things in our lives. This upbeat attitude gives us the strength to be brave in any situation and the determination to keep going even when things get tough. Lesson 7. To get ideas, read Stoic works or words. Reading Stoic texts or quotes in the early morning, when the world is still covered in the peace of dawn and the first rays of light slowly pass through the curtains, is a one-of-a-kind way to find inner peace and acceptance. With its roots in the basic ideas of Stoicism, this practice gives us the chance to fill our thoughts with old knowledge that can help us in times of trouble and confusion. Stoicism is an old Greek and Roman theory that has stood the test of time. It tells us to live in harmony with nature and be calm when life gives us both good and bad things. When we read Stoic texts or quotes in the morning, we can absorb these ideas, which helps us find peace within ourselves and accept things as they are. When we really think about what Stoic thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius said, we can get a lot of knowledge and clarity. The things they said tell us how important it is to stay cool in bad situations, be good in everything we do, and be humble about the things we can't change. We find peace in his works because they let us know that we are not the only ones going through hard times, and that brave and determined people have been through similar ones before. When we read Stoic texts or words first thing in the morning, it helps us build a strong base for the day. Being upbeat and strong is important because it helps us be ready to face problems calmly and confidently. It helps us remember that we can choose how to respond to things and that we can find peace within ourselves even when things are hard. Finally, reading Stoic writings or quotes can help us learn more about ourselves and the world around us. It makes us think about what we do and what we value, and it pushes us to live by the rules of virtue and reason. People are encouraged to think about their views and biases and to question what they think is important in life. Reading Stoic works or quotes first thing in the morning is also like taking part in a tradition that goes back hundreds of years. We join a long line of thinkers and wisdom seekers who have found solace and guidance in the teachings of Stoicism over the centuries. We connect with people all over the world who want to live a meaningful, honest life based on the timeless principles of virtue and reason. Lesson 8. Think about what you want and what you value. Reading Stoic texts or quotes in the early morning, when the world is still covered in the peace of dawn and the first rays of light slowly filter through the curtains, is a one-of-a-kind way to find inner peace and acceptance. With its roots in the basic ideas of Stoicism, this practice gives us the chance to fill our thoughts with old knowledge that can help us in times of trouble and confusion. Stoicism is an old Greek and Roman theory that has stood the test of time. It tells us to live in harmony with nature and be calm when life gives us both good and bad things. When we read Stoic texts or quotes in the morning, we can absorb these ideas, which helps us find peace within ourselves and accept things as they are. When we really think about what Stoic thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius said, we can get a lot of knowledge and clarity. The things they said tell us how important it is to stay cool in bad situations, be good in everything we do, and be humble about the things we can't change. We find peace in his works because they let us know that we are not the only ones going through hard times and that brave and determined people have been through similar ones before. When we read Stoic texts or words first thing in the morning, it helps us build a strong base for the day. Being upbeat and strong is important because it helps us be ready to face problems calmly and confidently. It helps us remember that we can choose how to respond to things and that we can find peace within ourselves even when things are hard. Finally, reading Stoic writings or quotes can help us learn more about ourselves and the world around us. It makes us think about what we do and what we value, and it pushes us to live by the rules of virtue and reason. People are encouraged to think about their views and biases and to question what they think is important in life. Reading Stoic works or quotes first thing in the morning is also like taking part in a tradition that goes back hundreds of years. We join a long line of thinkers and wisdom seekers who have found solace and guidance in the teachings of Stoicism. Over the centuries, we connect with a global community of people who share our desire to live a meaningful and authentic life, guided by the timeless principles of virtue and reason. Lesson 9. Practicing creative visualization on the path of Stoicism, a powerful tool for propelling personal and spiritual progress, is the practice of creative visualization during the morning hours. This technique, rooted in the fundamental principles of Stoicism, allows us to use mental power to visualize our goals and aspirations, thus establishing a clear path to personal achievement and fulfillment. Creative visualization involves vividly imagining the achievement of our goals, using all our senses to recreate the experience in our mind during the morning period. When the mind is fresh and receptive, we can take advantage of this technique to focus our mental energy on what we wish to achieve in life. By practicing creative visualization, we immerse ourselves in a state of deep concentration and focus, where we can clearly see our goals and aspirations materialize before our mental eyes. We imagine ourselves achieving success, overcoming obstacles, and enjoying the fruits of our hard work and dedication. Creative visualization allows us to not only visualize the end result, but also the steps we must take to achieve our goals. It helps us to identify possible obstacles and plan strategies to overcome them, thus strengthening our determination and perseverance on the road to success. In addition, the practice of creative visualization during the morning hours helps us establish a positive and proactive mindset for the day ahead. It fills us with optimism and confidence in our abilities to achieve our goals, inspiring us to take action and work diligently toward their attainment. Creative visualization also has a powerful effect on our emotional and spiritual state. By imagining the achievement of our goals, we experience a sense of satisfaction and anticipated gratification, which propels us to move forward with determination and motivation. In addition, this practice helps us to stay focused on what is truly important in life, keeping us away from unnecessary distractions and worries. In the context of Stoicism, creative visualization aligns with the principle of living in accordance with nature and cultivating virtue in all our actions. By visualizing our goals and aspirations, we strive to reach our full potential as human beings and contribute positively to the world around us. In summary, the practice of creative visualization during the morning period is a powerful tool for driving personal and spiritual progress according to Stoicism. It allows us to visualize our goals and aspirations with clarity and detail, thus establishing a clear path to success and personal fulfillment. By practicing visualization, we strengthen our determination, optimism, and confidence in our abilities to achieve our goals, inspiring us to take action and work diligently toward their attainment. Lesson 10. Reflect on the events of the previous day. In Stoicism, the practice of reflecting on the previous day's events and setting intentions for the new day during the early morning hours is considered a powerful tool for self-awareness and personal growth. These pre-dawn moments offer a space of quiet and calm that allows for deep introspection and reflection on our actions, thoughts, and emotions. By reflecting on the events of the previous day, we have the opportunity to evaluate our actions and behaviors with honesty and objectivity. It allows us to examine how we responded to different situations, identify areas where we could have acted more congruently with our values and principles, and learn from our past experiences. This practice helps us cultivate self-awareness and better understand our strengths and weaknesses. In addition, by setting intentions for the new day, we can direct our energy and attention to what is truly important to us. It helps us define our objectives and priorities, establish a sense of purpose and direction, and focus our energy on activities that bring us closer to our goals. In doing so, we feel more empowered and prepared to meet the challenges that may arise during the day. The practice of reflecting on the previous day's events and setting intentions for the new day during the morning hours aligns perfectly with the principles of Stoicism. This philosophy teaches us to live in accordance with nature accepting with serenity both the joys and adversities that life presents to us. By reflecting on our past experiences and setting intentions for the new day, we practice acceptance and self-control, thus cultivating the Stoic virtue of wisdom and moderation. In addition, this practice helps us develop a resilient and adaptable mindset that enables us to face life's ups and downs with calm and composure. It teaches us to be flexible in our thinking and actions, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to find opportunities for growth and learning in every situation. In doing so, we strengthen our ability to overcome obstacles and challenges that may come our way. Another important aspect of this practice is its ability to foster gratitude and appreciation for life. By reflecting on the events of the previous day, we become aware of the blessings and opportunities we have in our lives and feel grateful for them. By setting intentions for the new day, we commit to living with purpose and meaning, recognizing the value and beauty of each moment that comes our way. In summary, the practice of reflecting on the events of the previous day and setting intentions for the new day during the morning hours is a powerful tool for self-awareness and personal growth. It helps us to evaluate our actions and behaviors with honesty and objectivity, to set clear goals and priorities, and to develop a resilient and adaptive mindset that enables us to face life's challenges with calm and composure. In doing so, we cultivate wisdom, moderation, and gratitude, and move one step closer to a full and meaningful life in harmony with the principles of Stoicism. Lesson 11. Practicing emotional detachment. At the heart of Stoicism lies the idea of emotional detachment, a crucial skill for facing adversity with serenity and acceptance. Lesson 11 invites us to practice this emotional detachment during the early morning hours, between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning, as a way to strengthen our inner peace and our capacity to accept circumstances as they are. Emotional detachment does not mean suppressing our emotions or denying their existence, but rather learning to observe them without identifying with them. It allows us to distance ourselves from our automatic reactions and make conscious decisions based on reason and virtue, rather than being swept along by the whirlwind of our emotions. In this sense, practicing emotional detachment during the early morning hours gives us the opportunity to cultivate a calm and equanimous mind before the demands of the day begin to press in on us. It allows us to establish a solid foundation of inner peace that we can carry with us throughout the day, facing challenges with calmness and mental clarity. During this period of morning quiet, we can spend time reflecting on our emotions and thoughts without being absorbed by them. We observe how they arise and fade away, recognizing that they are temporary and not defining of our true nature. This practice helps us to free ourselves from the unnecessary suffering that arises when we cling too tightly to our emotions. In addition, practicing emotional detachment allows us to accept adversity with serenity and courage, rather than resisting or lamenting the difficulties we face. We learn to embrace them as opportunities to grow and learn, recognizing that suffering is an inevitable part of human life, and that by accepting it with courage, we can find meaning and purpose even in the midst of adversity. The practice of emotional detachment also helps us to maintain a broader perspective on the difficult situations we face, rather than getting caught up in negativity and pessimism. We learn to see challenges as part of a larger process of growth and transformation, allowing us to remain steadfast in our resolve and determination, even when things seem difficult. An important part of practicing emotional detachment is learning to let go of control over things that are beyond our power. We recognize that there are aspects of life that are beyond our control, and that trying to hold on to them only causes us suffering. Instead, we learn to focus our energy on the things we can control, such as our attitudes and actions. In summary, Lesson 11 reminds us of the importance of practicing emotional detachment during the early morning hours as a way to strengthen our inner peace and our capacity for acceptance. By learning to observe our emotions without identifying with them, we cultivate a calm and equanimous mind that helps us face adversity with serenity and courage. By letting go of control over things that are beyond our power, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and find greater peace and satisfaction in our lives. Lesson 12. Cultivate humility and moderation on the path of Stoicism. Humility and moderation are two fundamental pillars that guide our actions and thoughts toward a fuller and more meaningful life. Lesson 12 invites us to cultivate these values during the dawn, when nature itself seems to whisper the need to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. Humility, in the context of Stoicism, is not about belittling ourselves or underestimating our abilities, but rather recognizing our shared humanity with all other beings. It is understanding that we are part of a vast and complex universe, and that our actions have an impact that transcends our own self-interest. By cultivating humility before the dawn, we remember our connection to humanity and adopt an attitude of respect and consideration for others. Moderation, on the other hand, involves finding a healthy balance in all areas of our lives, from our emotions and desires to our actions and habits. It means not getting carried away by extremes, but standing firm in the center where we can make conscious and wise decisions. While the day is still full of promise and possibility, practicing moderation helps us establish a solid foundation to face whatever the day may bring with calm and poise. Cultivating humility and moderation during the dawn is an expression of the Stoic values of wisdom and temperance. Wisdom teaches us to recognize the truth in all things and to act with discernment and clarity. By practicing humility, we recognize that we still have much to learn and that there is always room for growth and improvement. Temperance, on the other hand, teaches us to master our passions and desires and to act with self-discipline and control. During the early morning hours, when the world is still shrouded in silence and serenity, we have the opportunity to cultivate these values in every action and thought. We can begin the day with a clear and open mind, ready to receive the lessons life has to offer and to act with integrity and compassion in all our interactions. The practice of humility and moderation during sunrise also helps us develop a greater awareness of ourselves and our own motives and desires. It invites us to examine our actions and thoughts with honesty and objectivity and to identify areas in which we can improve and grow. In doing so, we become better human beings, more compassionate and understanding of ourselves and others. In addition, cultivating humility and moderation during sunrise helps us set a positive and constructive tone for the rest of the day. It helps us to avoid falling into the trap of ego and vanity and to stay focused on what really matters in life. It helps us to make conscious and deliberate decisions that are aligned with our deepest values and principles. In summary, Lesson 12 reminds us of the importance of cultivating humility and moderation in all our actions and thoughts during the dawn as an expression of the Stoic values of wisdom and temperance. In doing so, we move one step closer to a fuller and more meaningful life in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the principles of Stoicism. I hope the insights shared today have ignited a spark of transformation within you. Remember, the path to mastering your emotions and reactions isn't just about learning. It's about applying these Stoic principles consistently in your everyday life. Start small, practice daily, and watch as your world begins to change. If you found this guide helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that can empower you to take control of your life. Don't just navigate through life, master it. Until next time, keep striving for excellence with the wisdom of the Stoics, guiding you every step of the way.